Is your man on the phone? If he ain't, let me know. Let me see if you can. Is your man on the phone? If he ain't, let me know. Let me see if we can run it. Gonna do I can run it. Ugh. Alright. We're getting a show on the road. Ugh. I'm just getting the links. I forgot to copy them, but I've got them down here. Did this thing load any slower? What the fuck? Oh. Have you guys seen my latest video? I mean, it's only 25 minutes old, but you know, Azuka's had enough of us. Let's put it that way. Azuka's sick of us right now. He's sick of the shit. Mood of the Ritz. Alright, he's not in the mood. Could this thing load any slower? What the Hold on. It's loading fast over here. I put all the links in a fucking OneNote. Here it is. Okay. These are the links I need. I just gotta send them to myself from like Discord or some shit, and then we can open them. Oh yeah, I've got my own server that I don't actually use. I'll paste it like that. There we go. That ought to do it. One that be useless as fuck sometimes. I can just get it straight from my Discord. Ugh. Here we go. Yo, Corey Moody with the $2. Hey, Premium, I'm enjoying Sonic right now. That's good, man. I was never one for drawing. I was always shit at that. I was more of a musician. Yo, Kaiser JK with the €2. Hey, Pran, if you want awesome content, hashtag 06boys. For life. For life. Alright, I got the links now. We're good. Alright. Now we can get the show on the actual road. Because before it was like on the side of the road. We can actually get the show on the road now. Basically, you don't know what's happened, there was a Sonic Frontiers demo, right? And in said demo, they had a huge NDA. They told people, listen, you can come to the booth if you book an appointment and if we allow you to, but you can't record no footage. You can't say no shit until like Monday. Monday drops, now there's footage to talk about, now there's reviews coming out, and we're gonna go through all of them basically. So I've got the links now so we can actually take a look at this shit. We got, look at this one, this is a 14-minute hands-on. We've got shit, okay? This is footage. Like, when I saw the amount of footage that was coming out. Yo, Jerry, the $2. Hey, Daddy, wow. Anyway, I'm probably gonna have to mute the donation music because we got so much footage to go through. I can't have the music breaking up the flow, you know what I mean? Because we gotta talk about this shit. Footage is count. This one's 11 minutes of developer interview. Like, and then what's this one? First hands-on impression by Nintendo Everything. And then we got, what else we got? This one, this channel is uploading all the shit right now. Look at this. We got a bunch of shit we gotta go through. And then, what else we got? This is a written review. This is the Nintendo Everything article version. And then we've also got PC Games Network. I think there's even more than this. We're gonna have to just type in Sonic Frontiers. You know. Type in Sonic Frontiers demo. And just sort by, oh look, I come up first. Sort by today. And see. That one says 4K. Impressions. Oh, that's from Twitter. Oh, I saw that leaked cutscene thing, yeah. But we graduated from 144p cutscenes. We progressed. You don't need to look at this shit. Okay, we're done with this shit. We progressed onto real footage. Anyway. Prem's got all the ammunition. Now, what's up, Beats? You can't stream in 4K. The stream is only in 1080p. There's no 4K stream here. Anyway, let's get this show on the road. Alright, we missed some donations. Hold on. The Future donated $10. Said, yo, Prime, what's good, my boy? Just wanted to say, Heroes is the motherfucking GOAT. You already know it! Never be topped. Enders donated $2. Said, yo, Prime, what's up, man? I'm doing good. Swifty Central donated £1.79. Said, yo, Prime, what's your thoughts on a possible SA3? Man, I don't think I can say anything that hasn't already been said in these two videos over here. This video was like the reaction to it, but this was like a discussion about it. So that's pretty much how I feel. Like, if I say anything now, I'll just be repeating what I said in this video, but not as concise, basically. But yeah, let's start off with the light shit. Let's start off with the light before we get into the reviews. Okay, before we start reading all this shit, let's just go with the light footage. This channel's posted some clips. So we're gonna get into the shit and see what we gotta deal with. Battle gameplay 1. Alright. And this shit is 60 FPS, so shit is smooth. Shit is smooth as butter, okay? I mean, they're smoother than 60 FPS as 144 and all that shit. Which this game I think will run at higher than 60 if you can run that. Because let's face it, I mean, I think Forces could do higher than 60. Alright. 60 FPS looks good on this game. I mean, it looks good on every game, but I think the double jump is definitely tweaked from the Forces one. But yeah, graphically, I mean, this is only a 1080p video, so bitrate's gonna be shit. But graphically, like, I just have to say this as someone who loves Unleashed. Unleashed is not touching this graphically. I'm sorry. Graphically, it's not. Whether you like the art style more, that's a matter of personal opinion, right? Like, Unleashed is more Pixar looking and colorful. That's opinion. Graphically, it's not touching this, okay? I've played Unleashed at 4K on emulator. It doesn't hold up the same way. The resolution of the textures, the details in the foliage, this is superior graphically. It's not even a debate. Alright, so the enemy shows up. Alright, do you see how the enemy was like fake trying to like hit something? You know that thing that bullies be doing? Like they try and like trying to scare people. Like that's what the enemy was doing. It's like, oh, what? What? I don't know if it's me, but maybe the animations look a little bit better here. I don't know if that's just the 60 FPS benefit or if the shit is actually better here. Oh, okay, that look kind of sick. That look kind of sick. You see the way he like, when he turned and his quills like went to the side? Oh, shit, look at that, look at that. So they look evil here, shit. Oh. Alright, okay. It's a good clip. It's a good clip. I can't lie, it's a good clip. Maybe 60 FPS is spoiling me a little bit, because I think all the previous shit was 30, but it looks good here. Lonely Goober said, I don't think the animations improve, we're just seeing more animations. I don't know, man. I mean, maybe it's the 60 FPS, but it looks solid. Neon J donated £1.79 and said, Izuka being hella cocky as fuck like he got swag. I mean, Izuka is being super cocky. And I mean, it's probably because of the focus tests, because I don't know if they were doing serious amounts of focus testing with previous games. I think they were more reserved from before. But now, with the focus tests, they're walking around like they got the fucking Infinity Stones. Like, you know, and they don't have all the Infinity Stones because the Momentum Stone is missing. They got the Graphic Stone. They got the Story Stone. Okay? But do they have the Level Design Stone? We don't know yet. Someone said I'd smash though. Are you talking about the robot? Come on, you're not this down bad. Okay? You're not this down. You ain't smashing the robot. The robot gonna finish you anyway. What the fuck? The robot's animation, I wasn't even paying attention to the robot's animations, but like this attack here, this looks solid. I can't lie. It looks solid. It's probably the same build recorded at the same time as the other footage, just more interesting footage. I don't know. I don't know if it is, because I mean, what do I know, right? But maybe it's the 60 FPS, but it just looks, better here. But I mean, frame rate can do that for someone. Like Kirby and the Forgotten Land being 30 FPS, I would definitely say affected my experience of the game. But you know, not to say I just liked it. I'm just saying, like, I could have felt that I would have enjoyed it more at 60. But graphically, man, this game is beautiful. Like, once we run this shit at 4K max settings, it makes you want to get a higher refresh rate monitor just to see this shit. Anyway, we got Sonic Frontiers Battle Gameplay 2. All right, let's check this one out. Let's check this one out. The Sonic channel donated £1. Thank you for the support, man. All right. Look at those birds. Look at those birds in the sky, just like like that. Oh shit. The enemies even look more interesting here. I don't know what it is. I don't know what enemies did they show before. The fucking chewing gum looking shit, and then the other one. Like those enemies were looking kind of dead, but here the attacks look more involving, right? Like, I don't know. There's more interesting enemies here than before, is what I'm saying. Even the spin cycle looks cool here. Is it faster here? I mean, it could be a level up situation because, like, I remember, like, hold on. I remember. Let's go back to the IGN Sonic Frontiers, the first one, right? No, it was the combat one because we're talking about the spin cycle. The spin cycle felt so slow before. Like, let's go back to the original IGN footage. Let's find a spin cycle. Maybe it's a skill tree related thing, but come on, spin cycle. Okay, so here let's watch the spin cycle. And then let's go back and look at it here. I don't know if it's faster. Maybe it's just a 60 FPS. But I don't know. I don't know why they would show it at 30 FPS. Like, were they not able to run it at 60 at the start of June? Like, I don't understand that. Because here, it just looks messier. And I don't know if that's just frame rate. Because I'm going to be real with you. Like, I haven't played a 30 FPS game. Oh, actually, I played Kirby in the Forgotten Land. But at least on PC, I haven't played a 30 FPS game in a long time. He's boosting. Oh, so he's boosting with the spin cycle. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Sonic Speed donated £2 and said Frontiers Hype just set and love the stream prem. The Sonic channel donated £2, said can you listen to the His World remix? Well, we're reacting to gameplay right now, so I can't really go into music shit right now. So you can boost with the spin cycle to do it quicker. Boosting and running in a circle, that's pretty crazy though. But it looks better here. It looks better here. That's the missile sound effect that I heard a million times in Runners, isn't it? It seems so fluid. Like the movement, like they really improved from Forces Control. Because like Forces Control was not it. And you could tell they started from that and they just reworked it. But even the air dash, like Forces didn't have a standard air dash. You could only boost. So even adding like a standard like jump dash.
Use the gear.
I wish it did that. I wish the enemies when they got destroyed they did like that 06 shit. You know in 06, because all the previous Sonic games you destroy the enemy, they just disappear. But in 06, when you destroy the enemy, like the parts start flying around and shit. I always loved that physics shit in 06. One of the things I loved the most about the game. So I wish you could see that here. Like you destroy the enemy and then the parts just like fling onto the floor or some shit. But it kind of just like disappears.
Use the gear as you have done before.
So that's the Ghost Girl voice or whatever. Alright, so that's Battle Gameplay 2. Again, looking solid. I'm not gonna lie, looking solid. Alright, what's next? Free Run Gameplay 1. Alright, let's see that. Free Run Gameplay 1. Oh, where's the sound? We need to get some 4K shit though, seriously. Is he slower here? He seems a lot slower here when he's running. And that homing attack was... He barely jumped for that. He just kind of hit the homing attack. Was that like a light jump? Yeah, so like... Here you can see an example of the lack of momentum. Like you hit the homing attack and he barely has any freedom of movement after the homing attack. He's like really close to it. Like he doesn't like fluidly like boom. Like if you play like those Unleashed Rooftop Run DLC levels and you hit the balloons and it's like you hit the balloon and it's like boom and it's like boom, like bouncing through them. Even Generations has it to some extent. But here it's very like stiff. When you hit it, it's like like that. Alright, this is the rail we saw from before in the IGN thing. Is he slowing down on the rail at all? Because it starts off fast, I think, because he was boosting. Obviously, the rails have a default, like, minimum speed. And this is the weird section we saw from before in the first gameplay where he, like, ran up it, then started climbing and started running again, right? Yeah, that I don't get that. Like, why is he climbing and then running? Like, he just transitions from a climb to a run, like, with no, like, booster or anything like that. That makes no sense. Like, if you start running up the wall, then you've already got, like, some kind of build-up, some kind of momentum, so you continue running. But then, to start running, transition into a hold on to the wall, and then just go back to running, I feel like the moment you slow down to the point where you have to climb it, you should not be allowed to just start running again. You'd have to just climb the rest of the wall. And if you kept running, then you would stay running, right? That makes more sense to me. But he's boosting and turning. So it's like, see, if this was like Unleash Your Generations, you need to like drift on a corner like this. But here, he's just boosting and turning. All right, so this is like, oh, you can climb there, shit. So this is like, yeah, that weird climb run thing. I'm guessing it's like some viewpoint synchronization. I don't know if, yeah, we haven't even seen like the map yet. Is that like a mini map? Like something like, are we gonna like synchronize viewpoints and shit? Stomps onto the spring. Yeah, so as you can see, the lack of momentum shows here because he's going down the rail and he's not gaining any speed as he goes down the rail. He's going at the same like speed consistently. Whereas if it was like if there was momentum in the rail movement, you would like go downhill and it would get a bit faster as you get lower. Oh, that's the rail switching thing. Did they fix that? Let me see. Because that will show us if it's the same build or not. Alright. Is that the right? Is that? Let me see. I can't even tell. He's supposed to like flip that way, right? Is that the right way? Yeah, they fixed it. Yeah, they fixed it, right? Lil Natural donated $2, said the turns are objectively more fluid than ever. Well, I mean, I don't know about more fluid than ever. More fluid for like boost games, yeah, but not than ever, I would say. But yeah, the animation, maybe I'm getting it wrong, but it looks like this is the right way now. For the first time in history, it was actually an earlier build that was causing all the problems. For the first time, because people use the earlier build excuse on College Ultimate. They used it on Forces. They used it on, well, I don't actually remember what Lost World Discourse was like. They didn't really use it on Mania because Mania was actually good. And Generations was also good. So yeah, it was Forces that really started the whole earlier build trend. And then College Ultimate really took off. But now it's like, I guess it was an earlier build. What can I say? But if they were able to show it like this on the 13th of June, and they showed us the gameplay, what, 2 weeks ago? You telling me they couldn't have that 2 weeks ago, that they just weren't ready to show it then? They might as well have just waited the 2 weeks. Oh, even that, when he hits the rainbow ring, you see that? That looks smoother. Hold on. Hold the phone. Okay? Let me go back to the original one. Let me go back to the original IGN Sonic Frontiers video. The world premiere. Okay, where's the world premiere? Can you please show up? Let's look at the world premiere, because I feel like that animation is not the same. Like, they might have changed that, or maybe it just looks better. Okay, so we go back to this area. Maybe it is the same? It looks smoother, but it could just be 60 FPS bias. I don't know. I mean, this video is uploaded in 60, but this is not 60 FPS gameplay. Like, I'm looking at it here, and it looks... It could just be 30 FPS. It could just be 30 FPS. I don't know. I can't say for sure. But we go here, we look at the same animation, 60 FPS footage, and that just looks fluid. Again, it could just be frame rate, but I don't know. Remember in Forces, they had that weird like glitch where the stomp sound effect would hit the moment you started stomping and not when you actually hit the ground? I don't know why they left that in the game, but it's not here. Just putting that in. Someone said the pop-in is bad. I didn't even pay attention to the pop-in. Like, I noticed the pop-in in the original footage, but it wasn't like my biggest concern. Hikaru donated £1.79 and said finally it's fixed. And the storyteller donated £2 and said Prem, IGN were playing in action mode. What do you mean action mode? Alright, what else we got? Free 1 gameplay 2. Alright. Let's see this. Okay, let's see this free 1 gameplay. You should watch a lot of the impressions. Oh, don't worry, Jay. We're gonna get into all the shit. There are 2 modes and there are 2 control styles: speed and action. What? What did I say? No. I need to rub this one in. Hold on. I need to rub some shit in right now because no, I need to rub some shit. Where's the video? Where is the video? Where's the first main gameplay video we got? Right? Where was it? This one or was it this one? I can't actually remember. No. We had the first. No, this was the teaser, right? And I think this was my reaction. All right, hold. I mentioned 2 control styles. I remember mentioning it. Let me see. Was it this video? No, I think it was the second one. It was the second one. It was the big boy footage. I said, I was really negative in this video. I'm not gonna lie. But I said there were 2 control schemes. I'm gonna find this because no, I need to rub this in a little bit because people were telling me, were saying I was wrong. Okay, let me see. Here we go. Yeah, there's definitely some kind of walking mode. Right, there's definitely some kind of walking mode, and then they probably just so forces control is like the main mode, and then you got like a slow walking mode. Okay. So I mentioned 2 modes. Let's see. I just need to, okay. Let me see. There were comments calling me out for it. I can't find them now. I can't even rub it in. But I said this back on the 1st of June that there were 2 modes, and people were like, no, there weren't 2 modes. No, there weren't 2 modes. Ugh. You were wrong then. Actually, that's not how it worked. It's still 2 modes. I didn't get the exact details of the mode correctly, but I detected 2 modes, is my point. Anyway, check out a Summer Game Fest video. Which Summer Game Fest video? Let me see. Do they have their own channel? Their channel is the Game Awards, right? They put everything on the Game Awards channel. What are we looking for? There's nothing new here. Anyway, let's go back to the... I just wanted to rub that in, but let's go back to the... Free run gameplay 2. There's tons of footage. We're gonna get through everything. Don't worry. We're gonna see everything. Went all the way up in the skylight just to do one trick. Come on. So we air dashes into there. Action mode is for people who aren't familiar with Sonic games. So it gives him more weight. Is there like a specific video that describes the 2 modes? Because I want to see that shit right now. Oh, what the fuck was that? He just flung off the side. Yeah, that was a physics miss up. He should have like, again, momentum, but he should have like run off the side. Instead, he just like. All right, he hits that enemy. What the? Oh shit! That was like some Street Fighter like special ability shit. Speaking of Street Fighter, don't forget to subscribe to the non-Sonic channel. Link in the description. Premulous. It's popping off over there. It's like Fabulous, but replace Fab with Prem. It's popping off over there. We're gonna react to the Capcom event and look at some Street Fighter 6 shit. It's gonna be lit. So make sure to check out the non-Sonic channel. You know, we're trying to hit 10K subs this year. And if 2,400 of you subscribed right now, which won't happen, then I would hit it like right now. I got a plug, okay? Alright. I love, by the way, the reflections. People found out that they took that floor texture from Forces. I don't have the tweet. But if you look at the one in Forces, it's like plain as fuck. And then when they put it here and they add all the fucking reflections, I'm assuming there's going to be ray tracing in this. You know. Okay, Ali sent me the link with the 2 modes. Let me see. Let me take a look at this. Ugh. Okay, that's the GameSpot video. Okay, I'm gonna check that one out. I want to check out the GameSpot video quickly. But yeah, like as I was saying, the reflections on this ground are amazing. Like again, Unleashed is not touching this graphically. The reflections on the ground here, this is next level shit. Well, okay, maybe not next level shit, but Beats said it's just screen space. So Beats, are you saying that this game has no ray tracing then? I mean, I guess to be fair, they're putting on the fucking Switch, right? So it's possible there's no ray tracing. I think I missed a few donations. Let me see. Let me see. Hikaru donated £1.79 and said IGM probably playing in resolution mode and not performance. Marius donated 25 RON and said, I'm at work, did I miss something? Is there something to be hyped about? There's a ton of footage. A ton of footage is dropped. So we'll let you react to now. Stevie D donated $5 and said, not the same. You thought there was a trigger for walking and running. It's literally standard mode versus... Well, it's not the exact details, but I said there were two control styles, right? And people said it wasn't two, it was one, right? So everyone said one, I said two, there were two. The nitty-gritty details, no, we're not removing this W, okay? I said two control schemes, and there appear to be two control schemes. I wasn't going to guess everything correctly. I don't have Izuku on speed dial. I mean, if I did, shit would be different, but, you know, let's just put that out there. The Storyteller donated £2 and said, GameStop and Easy Allies describe the two modes. All right, I'm going to check that out. Bushi donated £2 and said, hit the final boss with the Daigo parry. Cyberspace reveals at the end of the month. Where did they confirm this? When did they say this? What was that? He ran off the edge. He just kept running. You see that? Like those fucking Looney Tune cartoons when they run off the edge of the cliff and then they just get into the middle of the cliff and they go, oh shit, there's no ground, and then they fall, like that kind of shit. I mean, that's some kind of move, hits the spring. Those tricks, I'm sorry, but those tricks are still not like, you know, Generations level in terms of animations. Like, they need to work on that. Hits that. Gets the heart. Now there's a rainbow ring there. Okay. Alright. We've got puzzle gameplay. Let's quickly go through the puzzle gameplay, and then we can look at the impressions and shit. Let's see if there's some more intense puzzles than what we've already seen. Because what we've seen so far, puzzle-wise, it's pretty basic. Alright, so homing attacking some shit. Does it fall back down, or... Why does he keep hitting it? Yeah, I mean, this isn't really much of a puzzle. This is a pretty basic, just home and attack and hit the switch. Yeah, that's not a puzzle. Because I suck at puzzles, so if it looks like I can do it, then it's probably not that hard of a puzzle. Because honestly, puzzles be stumping me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a puzzle guy. So that's definitely not a tough puzzle. All right, let's see this puzzle. So the spin cycle blows out the torches. So how long can you make one spin cycle? I bet if there's no cap on the spin cycle, someone's gonna run around the whole fucking world and do in one big spin cycle. There's gonna be a mod for that. Like, I spin cycled the whole Starfall Islands or some shit like that. Lack of music is weird. Honestly, it doesn't bother me. I don't know, because the game is very atmospheric. If it was like a Studiopolis looking environment, like some wacky shit, then I would expect music. But because it's like photorealistic island, it doesn't really upset me. I don't know. I feel like I'm in the atmosphere. But yeah, oh my god, the visuals, man. Even at 1080p, this thing is beautiful. Even at 1080p. Even at 1080p, this thing is just This thing is beautiful, man. The 06 overall music was in a photorealistic era. Yeah, but I don't know. I think it's because I can hear the weather effects. So it's not like just complete silence, right? You're like there and you can hear like the rain just dropping and it's like bouncing off of the grass and shit. I don't know. This game, oh my god. Visually, this is what I wanted graphically. I wanted them to push graphics again because they just fucking slept on graphics. After Unleashed, they just said, fuck it. Generations was basically, well, physically or visually inferior to Unleashed because they wanted the frame rate to be better on PS3 and 360. So that was a step down graphically. Lost World, that fucking Nintendo shit. And then Forces with the fucking cringe Lost World art style with the trees and shit. We've been waiting since Unleashed for them to push graphics. 14 years. My god. A Skywalker 91 donated $5 and said, lol, spin cycle the entire map and do all the puzzles in one shot. There's gonna be a mod like that, like some crazy spin cycle shit. But yeah, honestly, so far from what we've seen today, I think I am sold on the combat now. I think I'm sold on the combat. It looked really boring before, but I feel like it looks a lot better here. I have to say, like, I think I'm sold on the combat. It's not like it's going to be my favorite combat ever in a video game, but for Sonic, I think this is pretty good combat. The puzzles still look basic as fuck. Personally, I suck at puzzles anyway, so I'm not too fussed, but I still would want something a little bit more stimulating than that puzzle-wise. I think that's all the footage you got from this channel. So we're going to go to... Let's go and see what GameSpot has to say, because GameSpot got a video that's 11 minutes long, and apparently they mentioned the control scheme.
Ugh. Well, hello. It's an honor to meet you, especially after...
I like to think the puzzles get more involved as the game progresses. Yeah, but I don't want to make the assumption, because like with the Forces build up, people would see footage and go, well, maybe the footage afterwards will be better. And it's like, I don't want to do that here. It's like, maybe they'll get harder. I mean, that makes logical sense, right? But what if they don't? Or what if they don't get much harder at all? And it's just like, you know.
Just playing through Sonic friend. Honored to meet you.
Okay, so Izuka's doing an interview with them.
Especially after...
Man, where is Kishimoto? We need to see his face, okay?
Just playing through Sonic Frontiers, both myself as well as Dave behind the camera. I think like the big questions on everyone's mind is like, so what inspired this idea to take Sonic to such a large open world? Like traditionally Sonic is very like either 2D levels, or if it is 3D, it's a bit more linear in scope. So this feels like a pretty big departure for a Sonic game.
はい、そうですね。ソニックはご存知の通り、最初の
So yeah, as you did mention, there's in Sonic's history, we've had the 2D side-scrolling gameplay, we've had the 3D.
Dog the Dragon donated $2 and said, "I want to eat Sonic." Really?
3D more linear format where you have Sonic starting someplace and going to a goal, kind of on a track. This is going to be kind of the next iteration. This is like the future of Sonic. Is we wanted to make something that really embraced freedom. And
God, that movement there, my God,
we
look at that.
To make something that
you could never do that in any boost game. I'm sorry.
Really,
that that curve.
And the free,
like, without drifting, you couldn't do some shit like that before.
That really embraced freedom and the freedom to kind of run around wherever you want. And that's what they did with this huge 3D environment, is taking that Sonic platform action into this new 3D environment, the iteration that went into it, the passion that went into it. This is the open zone format that they've created.
Sonic has a bit more moves in this game than he does in the past, and so I was wondering, like, early on, like, most of the enemies I encountered, I'm like, oh, I can use my homing attack and kind of take them out in one hit, very traditional Sonic. But does combat become a bit more central, more focused, like later on in the game? Does that like play a larger role in the environment in the game that you're going to be doing?
そうですね。
What's this? Another review? Let me see. Yeah, I've already got this one open. I've got this one open in another tab.
So yeah, in this open zone format, we have a lot of platforming that people can enjoy, the 3D action platforming. We also have the battle as one of the elements that people can enjoy in the open zone format. And really, we wanted to make sure we're giving the player choice, so they can choose to, if they just want to do action platforming, if they run into an enemy that they don't want to fight, they can also just run away and they don't have to engage. But if you're into battle and you want to do battle, you can also engage that enemy.
Okay, but is there a disadvantage if you don't defeat the enemy? Because if you defeat it, you're gonna get shit, right?
Go find new enemies to do battle with. So it's really this encouraging people to choose what they want to do and giving them the freedom to go and do what they want to do. But if you do want to engage enemies in battle, we also found, we need a battle system to allow people to engage in the enemies and allow people to kind of figure out how they want to defeat the enemies and how they want to have a fun time with the battle system.
Awesome. And going off of this choice of whether or not you want to run a platform or fight, like there are like these roadblocks like in the world where it's like, oh, you need this amount of keys or gears to like get past this certain thing. Could someone theoretically like get through the entire game like just doing the combat stuff if they wanted to, or just doing the platforming if they wanted to, or were you gonna have to get like a healthy mixture at some point?
Also, the guy on the left, respect to that afro if that's real. I don't know if that's a wig, but if that's a real afro, some serious respect, because growing an afro is not easy.
So the game design is kind of built with the idea that most people are going to want to do both. They will want to do some platform actioning. They will want to do some battle.
Okay, we got some donations. Kara donated 79p through the chat. Thank you for the donation. Arizian donated $5 and said it's kind of like Sonic Adventure because they got the basic puzzles to unlock stages. Yeah, but in Adventure, so much of the world was like the levels itself, and the open world was a lot less. So the basic puzzles are like whatever. But if this game is going to spend a lot more time in the open world, you can't just have go and grab that key from Station Square and then plop it in the Mystic Ruins. Like, that's not going to work for a whole game. John Leone donated $5 and said, will this run at 144 FPS? Also, the atmospheric sounds are starting to grow on me. I they haven't confirmed, but I believe it should run at higher than 60 because releasing a game today, at least on PC, that doesn't run above 60 is kind of not a good thing. Like a AAA game, it should run at 60. I believe that Forces, and if Beats is in the chat, he can correct me, but I believe that Forces allows you to run above 60. And if this is on the same engine as Forces, I don't see why they would cap that. Now, whether you can actually hit those numbers, it depends on your GPU.
So it is constructed in that way.
Yeah, they gotta fix that, because that thing there.
Do some battle. So it is.
I guess it kind of slants down, so I can see why he would do that, but realistically, you would fall off in a different way.
Constructed in that way, but it is also flexible enough to allow people, if they want to just like, I don't want to do.
I wasn't paying attention to what you're saying. I have to go back.
Healthy mixture at some point.
So the game design is kind of built with the idea that most people.
It doesn't natively allow you to run above 60. Stuff breaks, but you can. Oh shit, Forces doesn't let you run above 60. Because I saw in the settings you could go above 60. Or is it just like a setting, but it still runs at 60? It causes physics issues. Forces already has plenty of physics issues without that. Ugh.
People are going to want to do both. They will want to do some platform actioning. They will want to do some battle. So it is constructed in that way.
By the way, I should say the pop-in are able to win any open world game. Even Breath of the Wild and Xenoblade had them. But you can see that at least now in Frontiers, they didn't pop in your face. Yeah, you can't be having pop-in right in front of you. Like, it has to be smoother than that, okay? Like, especially on the PC version. Beat said, yeah, we don't know if this will be above 60 either. Yeah. They can't cap it at 60. That's lame. Okay, we're getting to that era of high refresh rate, and even just seeing the 30 FPS footage and going from that to 60, you can see the improvement. I'm not saying it's all because of that, because I think some of the animations were fixed, but still, like, they definitely need to not cap this at 60.
But it is.
Peyton Owens donated $2. I'm not reading that donation. I'm sorry, I can't read that. This is getting ridiculous. Neon J donated £1.79 and said, I wonder if there's fall damage in this game. Personally, I don't know. It depends. I feel like it wouldn't be the worst thing to have fall damage. Even if you just lost your rings or something. Like, you can't just jump from some ridiculously high place and then nothing happens. I get that's a platformer, so that kind of shit happens. But, I don't know.
Also flexible enough to allow people, if they want to just like, I don't want to do a lot of battle, they can find different ways of getting all the items that they need to get to continue on with the game without.
Oh, so the items, so you need items to progress and obviously unlock the cyberspace, which the cyberspace gives you the Chaos Emeralds, which allows you to defeat the Supersonic boss, which then allows you to go to the next island. So they're saying if you want to dodge combat, you can do more platforming. So I'm guessing there's more than enough. There's over provisioning on the collectibles, so that say if you need 10 collectibles, it's like 20. So you don't have to do all the combat shit to get it, basically.
Engaging in too much battle. And the same with platform.
An open world game needs fall damage. Breath of the Wild, depending on fall damage, to create scenarios at times. Yeah, I was kind of upset that Spider-Man PS4 had no fall damage. I'm not gonna lie. Even on the highest difficulty setting, there was no fall damage. I feel like in an open world, there's no risk if you don't have things like fall damage.
Action. If they
It's like doing combat, but then Sonic can't die. It's like, you know,
don't want to do too much platform action, there are.
That's why I didn't like Lego. Like Lego Dimensions, like you play it and it's like you die and you respawn exactly where you were, exactly at the point of the boss you were at. It's like, where is the actual risk? Where is the punishment?
There are other ways in the game to collect items that you need to get you to that next stage in order to continue forward with the game.
Awesome. And just to clear off everything with the combat, I did notice that there were ways to upgrade like Sonic's attack power and defense, things that haven't really existed in a Sonic game before. So how exactly does that work? Because in previous games it's like, oh, Sonic gets hit, he loses his rings, you have to collect it again. So what happens if you upgrade your defense in this game?
はい、今回のそのバトルが
So because battle is one of the 3 key pillars of the game, we want to make sure
3 key pillars. What is it? Battle, platforming, what else?
if you're
Stealth?
having problems with battle,
Sonic
maybe
and
you're getting hit and taking too much damage, or you're damaged when you're hitting the enemies, you're not damaging them enough. We want to allow people to kind of upgrade Sonic and change the like parameters of offense and defense and ways of engaging in the battle, so it's more suited to your style of doing battle. That is part of.
So I think we heard things about this in leaks. Like the skill tree had like, was it 3 different parts or something like that? I can't remember what all 3 were, but I think combat is one of them. And it's like you get to choose based on your style of play, which I like. I like skill trees like that they give you those kind of, you know, free, like those choices.
Making sure the battle system is fun and is something that people can enjoy and experience at the levels or at the skill set and techniques that they have. But we also want to make it easier, maybe if you're not good at battles in general, other ways of kind of improving Sonic and allowing you to maybe get somewhere that you couldn't get to do before, get the items that you need to get in order to progress. So it's not just you have to battle and here's the ways to battle.
The demo that
Oh god, once they mod in the Jason Griffith voice mod and the Unleashed model, oh my god, it's gonna look so good.
Dave and I played, it gave a very good idea of like what the gameplay for this is going to be like. But what about
If you don't have an HP bar, what's the point in upgrading defense or having that stat? Well, I guess it depends on how they do it. I don't know. Because it's possible that, I'm guessing you don't lose all your rings when you get hit. Maybe you lose some rings. We haven't seen the HUD fully, so we don't know. So maybe before, if you were losing 20 rings per hit, you only lose 10 rings or something like that. If you're using the rings to buy something, then you'd want to lose less rings, and maybe that would be why you'd upgrade defense. That's just an assumption. I don't know.
narrative? What does transforming this game into such this large open world does for narrative? Because Sonic's not just, oh, going through a level and then having a chance to talk to Tails and Knuckles and Amy for like a cutscene before going on to the next mission. Like, so how does the narrative change or evolve for a game like this?
はい、今回、実はストーリーにも
So yeah, we did put a lot of focus on the story and the
CSS donated $3.21 and said, "Did you notice that there isn't any 2D sections?" Look, I'm not ruling out 2D until we see cyberspace, because the cyberspace is supposed to be the traditional levels, and since pretty much almost every boost level that we've seen has 2D in it in past Sonic games, that would be the place where I would expect it to show up. I'm not saying it's a guarantee that it will show up. Maybe we get fully 3D boost levels for a change, but yeah, I'm not ruling out 2D until we see cyberspace.
実は
I'm not even fully ruling out wisps yet, to be honest, because I saw some purple shit in one of the low-res footage from the booth. Like, Sonic went, like, pink or some shit, so If maybe that's a whiz. I don't think it is, but you know, I gotta have that in the back of my mind just in case. Okay.
ストーリーにも
So yeah, we did put a lot of focus on the story and the story presentation. In previous Sonic titles, it was kind of like Eggman does something bad. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this. We gotta go to stop Eggman because he's doing this thing, and it's very like directly presented to you. That's kind of the previous way that Sonic title storytelling kind of took place, and we're changing that format, and we're now putting Sonic on this mysterious island. Who's on this island? What are are these enemies? I don't know. What am I supposed to do here? How do I save my friend? Like, these are all the mysteries and the questions that we're presenting people that we want them to go out and kind of explore and learn about and have this experience and figure out in the storytelling. Like, we have mysteries. We don't know what's going on. Sonic doesn't know what's going on either. You have to go out and figure this out. And it's this different style of storytelling that is
So Breath of the Wild.
new.
I would say even though with this like underlying mystery that's going on, like is it still funny? Like Sonic has a
Imagine 2D sections in the open world. Imagine you're in this big sandbox environment and just one section where the whole shit just pans to 2D.
franchise is pretty usually comical in nature.
そうですね。まあ今
So
回
yeah, if we were to talk about the storytelling for Sonic Frontiers, it's probably not so much comical and probably more mysterious. And I know we
Yo, Galaxy Productions donated $4.99 and said, I heard you can unlock the spin dash in the game. Hopefully it's like SA1 where you can jump and get momentum. Also love your vids, you keep it real. Thank you. Wait, are you the dude that made the SA3 fan game that I covered like years ago? I feel like that was the name of the person, but I might be wrong.
have had a lot of comical games in the past, but the mystery is really where they're going for Frontiers. That being said, we have employed Ian Flynn, who is a comic book writer, to write a lot of the dialogue for this game.
So he wrote the dialogue. He didn't just write like some plot shit. He really went in and he wrote the dialogue. John Leone donated $2 and said that enemy looks like a giant. Okay, I can't say that out
And
loud, but
Ian Flynn,
I know what you mean.
Is great at that Sonic voice, and he's done a great job of writing dialogue that still feels very much like, a kind of a cynical or kind of snarky comment that Sonic would say. That's definitely in there. So even
I can't believe Roger's finally getting his first good Sonic story, man. A whole 12 years after doing some of the greatest stories in video game history, like the Ezio trilogy, and then he had to do 12 years of mid-Sonic stories. My God, finally he gets one good Sonic story.
though the presentation is mysterious, it is still very true to like what a Sonic fan would enjoy and what Sonic fans like about Sonic.
And to continue on for the story, like how much of it is new? Like playing as Sonic, obviously, and we did see a cutscene that had Eggman in it, and then there was a mention of Amy via one of the items. Is that it? Are there new characters for Sonic to meet and interact with? Do we get to see any of the OG cast like making their return in this game?
まあちょっとストーリーに関してはまだ今あんまり
Son, can't say too much about the story. Again, it's mysterious. We don't want to spoil it for you guys. So
Of course,
we
you
don't want
got
to talk
cold.
too much about that, but we're on a mysterious island. There's going to be mysterious characters, mysterious enemies, who they are, what are they doing there, what's the end goal, what's Sonic supposed to do about all of this. Those are the things that we want to present to people so they can really enjoy the story and start learning more about all these characters and enemies and what's going on.
While you're doing this and trying to figure out what's going on, there's these like smaller mysteries, these
NPCs confirmed? Didn't they already say there was no NPCs?
puzzles like throughout the world that you have.
Bradley, shut up. You said some shit as well, okay? Don't act like you didn't say some shit back in the Forces era too. We all said some hopium copium shit, okay?
To solve, and Dave and I, like putting our heads together, solved like the ones in the beginning of the game pretty like easily, but we were wondering like how complex do like these puzzles get? Like, are there any like true like brain scratchers in there that are gonna take fans like a
They were not in the demo. So the whole demo had no NPCs, but there's NPCs in the main game.
while to like figure out?
Prem, you said Forces would have a good story. Well, okay, look. Forces story is still Roger's best story. Okay, compared to everything else in the Meta era at the time, Forces had the best story. Because what else was there? Colors? Come on. Lost World, that's probably Roger's second best Sonic story. It was Forces was Roger's best story, then Lost World, and then Generations basically had no story, but then Color's story was so bad that it would be fourth. That's the 4 games he got, right? Okay, Rise of Lyric. I don't even know where I'd put Rise of Lyric. I mean, in terms of story, but yeah, the Sonic team shit in terms of meta era was Forces, Lost World, Generations, Colors. That's the story. So yeah, the Forces was the best one for that era. It wasn't touching the Jason and the drum and shit, but like it was the best one for his era. And this one will probably be better because, you know, again, Ian Flynn.
そうです。パズルは
We really wanted to make sure there are other fun things to do while on the island. So yes, platform actioning is fun, but while you're on the island, there's also these puzzles to do. So for people who want
Unleashed donated £2 and said Forces fix Knuckles, end of story. I mean, Forces Knuckles, that's one of the things that was done well in that game was Knuckles, actually. That's one of his best portrayals, actually. You know, obviously not as good as, like, you know, Adventure 2 or something like that, but Forces Knuckles was pretty solid. You know, he wasn't a fucking joke. He was still a bit comical, but not in a way where you wouldn't take him seriously.
to do that and choose to do that and have a fun time, that's a great way that
they made every character unlikable in Lost World. Yeah, but it's still better than Color's story. Like, we're comparing a lot of mid stories here, okay? And Colors was the worst one. That's the worst one. I don't want to see cutscenes of Sonic talking to Yakka or Tails using a translator to talk to Yak. I don't want to see that on my screen, okay? There's a very small amount of things I like seeing on my monitor, and that's not it.
can earn rewards and kind of do things on the island that they are having a fun time with. So we do have puzzles on the island for players to engage with and have fun with, but we also don't want to force people to do anything. So if you don't want to do puzzles, you don't have to do puzzles. So
they got that whole accessibility bullshit. So, like, I'm not saying accessibility is bad, but, like, if you don't want to do the puzzles, you can skip them. If you don't want to do a combat, you can skip it. But you're going to have to do something in the end. But the puzzles, if they're going to make them optional anyway, then you should make them tougher, right? I mean, Spider-Man PS4, not to bring up that masterpiece again, they had some puzzles, and they could get, I don't want to say tough, but tougher than what we've seen so far with the puzzles in Frontiers. And you could just skip them, which kind of annoys me, but I guess I understand. Some people get stuck on the puzzle, they don't want to keep playing. But if you're gonna make them optional anyway, you might as well make them a bit tougher.
So you can still find other ways of having fun on the island in that open zone and still progressing in the game and progressing the story.
To wrap things up, my coworkers would hate me if I didn't ask this question, but this is Sonic. Sonic's got to go fast. Has anyone in the office like tested to see like how long it takes for Sonic to like run from one side of the map like all the way to the other? Like, can you do it like really quickly?
それは
I actually wonder how long it'll take to run through this whole map.
This is actually a really great thing that they were testing in development. When they started making this game, everyone was running from start to finish. You know, how quickly can you clear the island from one side to the other? They were constantly testing it because Sonic is such a fast character. When we're building this open zone,
Bradley said I hated the puzzles for Spider-Man at first, but now they aren't so bad. Oh, Bradley, don't tell me you skipped the puzzles in Spider-Man. Come on, don't do that shit.
An area, if you're going through it too quick, like that doesn't work.
Spidey said you can skip them in Spider-Man, but if you do so, you miss out on collectibles, which would help upgrade your stuff. Okay, so there is some kind of punishment for skipping them then. I wouldn't know because I never skipped them, but yeah, I guess there is a punishment for that, so that is a good thing.
For the open zone format. So they'd make the island, they'd run across it. They're like, this is no good, throw it out. We got to make it bigger. We got to make it bigger, even bigger. And they're constantly testing the size of the island and constantly questioning themselves because they have such...
So they're running from one point in the island to the other and they're testing and they go, oh, it's too quick. We're going to make the island bigger.
Such a fast character, and they need to make the open zone format a fun playground to play in. That was always what development was, iterating on and making sure, is the island too big? It's really not big enough. Iterating on and making...
I still think, and they probably did this to make things easier, but I still think the idea that you could just go from in a climbing position to just start running, it's a bit off to me. I mean, at least there was some kind of like leaping animation to insinuate that he put some effort into it. But the other time we saw it was a bit different. Neandre donated £1.79 and said, I hate Tales and Force's story. I mean, who didn't? Damn Needles BP donated $10 and said, giving credit where credit is due, Lost World did try to develop Tales by not agreeing with Sonic's method, and out Sonic in situations he's never been. It was done poorly, but at least they tried. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people hate Lost World Tales, but I kind of like bitchy Lost World Tales. I mean, relative to the other Tales in the meta era, like Color's Tales was cringe, Force's Tales was a bitch, Generations Tales was neutral, like nothing great or horrible about him. But then Generations also had classic Tales, which was cringed. You know, the fucking, you know, them saying the same lines and the doubles of us. We're traveling. No, I don't need to hear that.
Island too big is it's really not big enough, is what they kept figuring out, and they had to keep expanding. So
I really hope the leaks are true and there are 4 islands, because if there's 4 islands, there could be some crazy shit that we haven't seen yet.
They could make that open zone format.
Well, awesome. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me today and answer all of my questions. Yeah, for all of you watching at home, keep it here at GameSpot. We got plenty more content for Summer Game Fest on the horizon. Talk to you later.
Alright. So we saw that puzzle before. He hits the switch. It scans the area. Then you get the collectible, the hearts. So I think it was IGN Japan that said you get those hearts and then you give them to Amy in exchange for some shit, basically.
This is David Roll.
I feel like Ian Flynn had some involvement in that. The fact that you collect hearts and then you give them to Amy, it seems like a nice little level of detail there. All right, here we go. Hands-on reactions. Okay, so we need to see this.
Hey, I'm Dave Klein.
And I'm Jordan Ramey.
And we had the chance to check out Sonic Frontiers at Summer Game Fest 2022.
Let's see what they actually have to
talk
say.
about it. So, Jordan, initial impressions, what did you think?
It's wild that Sonic is being put in an open Breath of the Wild type world is kind of like my initial impressions of it. It's one of those things that, like, in a follow-up interview when we were talking to the devs and whatnot, they're like, oh, this is gonna be like a new step for Sonic. And I can see that. I can see that this could theoretically be like a transformative step for our favorite blue hedgehog, but I'm not entirely convinced that it works.
So he's not entirely convinced that it works. All right, so we're finally getting into some critic impressions that are not, you know, complete gushing.
Like that it works the way that they want it to work.
Yeah, I mean, it's also interesting with what you said with Breath of the Wild, because in that interview that Jordan did, they revealed that they started working on it in 2017.
Yeah.
Same release day as Breath of the Wild. So it seems like revealed that they started working on it. Interesting with what you said with Breath of the Wild, because in that interview that Jordan did, they revealed that they started working on it in 2000.
They started working on it in 2017? Didn't Izuka say that he started working on the game in 2019? Maybe it was just like the planning stage or shit like that. Energy donated £1.79 and said Nintendo Life confirmed multiple islands. Okay, that's good. Because the leaks said 4 islands and 28 cyberspace levels. So it is good that they've just confirmed that. Let me check Nintendo Life's channel right now. See if they've got anything related to Frontiers. Nothing on their channel. Where did they confirm this? On Twitter?
2017.
Yeah.
Same release day as Breath of the Wild. So it seems like a pretty clear inspiration. Yeah, I feel like some things do work, because we both had a chance to play it, and some things don't. And the last Sonic game that I played, that was a newer one, was Sonic Forces. And for me, it has some of the same issues, which is the game feel of it.
Here we go. The shit we've been saying about the footage. This is the shit we've been saying.
Sonic Forces.
So he last played Sonic Forces.
And for me, it has some of the same issues, which is the
Some of the same issues.
game feel of it.
The game feel, okay? As we know, or except for those who are in denial, this game is built upon Forces in terms of its physics, you know, the same engine, whatever. They've obviously taken what Forces movement was and they've improved it, right? But that doesn't make it perfect. That feel shit, he might not be saying the right words, But I feel like he's talking about that general fluidity of movement and, again, momentum, right? Things that make Sonic feel like Sonic.
Newer one was Sonic Forces, and for me it has some of the same issues, which is the game feel of it. I like what they're doing with the size of the levels. There's a lot of collecting in the game, which I like.
Chat, has anyone confirmed the length of the cyberspace levels? Because I need to hear this, because IGN called them bite-sized, and that doesn't sound good. I need someone to have like a fucking, like, how long did it take to beat the levels? Someone's got to say that.
Like, the openness is actually refreshing with the fact that Sonic controls a little weird, so you're not going to fall.
What was that animation? You see that?
The openness is actually refreshing with the fact that Sonic is
Oh, damn.
a little weird, so you're not going to make it.
Let me see
the
that one more
openness is
time.
actually
one more time.
refreshing with the fact that Sonic is
God damn.
a little weird, so you're not going to fall off that.
As long as Gen stages, since they're copy-paste. No, they're using the assets from Gens, not the level design.
Much, but to me it was just
It's about 2.5 minutes, someone said on Twitter. Is this a legitimate source? Someone's got to link me this shit, okay? Someone's got 2.5 minutes per stage, and there's 28 of them. Like, that is a good thing, right? I mean, it's still, in my opinion, short, but it's more like Generation short and not Forces short, which we'll take what we can get, right? The longest boost levels are in Unleashed, followed by Generations, and then obviously Colors and Forces at the shortest ones. The Forces engine was built upon the Unleashed, Generations, and Colors engine. Well, that's not entirely true, because Hedgehog Engine 2 is a brand new engine from the ground up. It's not just Hedgehog Engine 1 plus some upgrades, so that's not true. And Hedgehog Engine 2 started with Forces, so yeah. Hedgehog Engine 1 was, you know, Lost World, 06, no, Unleashed, Generations.
controlling Sonic just feels slightly off.
Okay, so again.
That much. But to me, it was just controlling.
So he said controlling Sonic feels somewhat off. Again, built upon Forces physics. Better than Forces physics, but still built upon them. It doesn't have the fluidity. That off thing that he's saying, what could he be talking about, right? It's not the turns, because he's able to turn, right? It's the fluidity, the momentum. Like when you hit the home and attack, it's supposed to like, the shit's supposed to ricochet, shit's supposed to bounce, like, That's what you're supposed to do when you hit a home and attack. It was stiff, right? Some of the movements are just lacking in momentum, right? These are the extra layers of things that you need. Nero Animations donated $5, said, I wonder if the demo will be open to the public sometime, but we'll probably never know. I think we will get a demo, but it won't be as quick as everyone else, basically. Unleashed donated £2 and said that 2.5 minute person was lying. Ignore that. Is that the one dude who said that he played the demo and everyone got mad at him and said he was lying because he didn't say positive things?
Sonic just feels slightly off. And anytime you move a direction, he just shoots that direction.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed, the shooting in a direction. So he can turn, but it's so like, you know? And to be honest, I kind of had that opinion with even SA2. Like in SA2, I feel like you could be running really fast forward and you could just shoot off to a direction. And I wasn't a big fan of that. Not to say I hated SA2 control. I wasn't like disliking it or anything like that. But that was always one thing that felt weird to me compared to, say, SA1, which I still believe is the gold standard for Sonic physics in 3D.
And you're just going to start flying in different directions. And that's where the open field kind of helps, but it still has that same issue.
Alright, close this.
Where something about it just feels a little off to me.
Yeah, and we should clarify, both Dave and I played, there's 2 modes for this game. One where it's like,
here's the 2 modes.
like, oh, Sonic controls a little bit more. It's like it's action mode. And then there's one that's like high speed mode where he goes apparently blazing fast. We both played on that mode.
Okay, so the slower mode, I'm guessing this is the one where it moves. I don't know why you'd want the slower mode. Like, it's Sonic, you're going to put on the high speed mode, but I guess that means that your turns aren't going to be as sharp.
That's a good point.
So
yeah.
It's possible that on the other mode, it's much easier to do the actual platforming and combat segments.
Yeah, but I mean, we only had 15 minutes each.
Yeah.
So they said they only had 15 minutes each. So it's pretty interesting because there was a lot of discourse on Sonic Twitter about someone having not played the demo because apparently you get 3 hours or some shit like that. I don't know.
Actually,
Who T.O. donated $2 and said, see at Sonic Frontier on Twitter for more details. Let me see this shit. Okay, we'll go through that in a sec.
Something that's worth mentioning that you brought up is that as we talked to the producer about the game with, there's kind of different segments within the game and like things that they focused on. And one was the open field. Another one is the combat that's completely different than anything we've seen in Sonic so far, which is that now he punches and kicks and you have a full combat sequence where you can learn different moves. There's almost like a skill tree for Sonic to learn moves, and there's dodging now, and you're really getting in enemies' faces as opposed to just bashing them, which was an interesting direction to take Sonic in.
I was about to say, did you like the combat at all? Like,
I actually, you know what, I did like it.
He kind of started on the did like it. That doesn't sound like it was amazing, but it sounds like it was cool.
I think it didn't feel as refined, and again, that's sort of the game feel thing to me, where things feel just slightly off. There's mini bosses that you face in the game, and a lot of them that we were facing feel really built in for the mechanics. Like there's a giant one that both of us fought that has these legs that slams down, and then you run up the legs to jump in and then start attacking it. And
very
it feels,
Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah, very, very Shadow of the Colossus. And I felt like they were really taking into account the mechanics of the game and the gameplay and the combat. And
Skid Marks donated $1.22. Said, I've always thought that Pokemon 316 was a Sonic reference, but no one believes me. What do you think? I don't follow Pokemon like that, so I have no idea what you're talking about. You know.
And how Sonic works for these enemies, so I appreciated that. But did you get a different takeaway?
I was gonna say, with those bosses, the ones that were the like larger than life, that they were almost like platforming challenges in and of themselves. Like that sort of combat, I did really enjoy because I think that kind of fits with like the core idea and conceit of Sonic, where it's like he is a action platformer like protagonist.
Yeah.
We did face like a mini boss called the Ninja that it was more like, oh no, this is kind of like just getting in its face and like dodging and then like punching it in the back, and I'm like, wow, this is that didn't really work for me as well. I was not enjoying that as much. So I do really like the one.
Ellie said, but am I punching and kicking, or is it like spam X square? I mean, you're not going to punch and kick in real life. You're probably going to be pressing a button, right? Like,
so you were talking about the ones where it's like...
Oh, I think I know what you mean. Like, well, you said spam, though. Like, you mean like press the button and there's multiple punches and kicks? Or versus you do each individual one?
Oh, I am platforming and fighting, like, at the same time. It gave me very... Shadow of the Colossus, Hyper Light Drifter, like those sort of vibes. And I think that works for Sonic. So my hope is that we see more of those throughout the game. There was like that boss fight where it's like, oh, you had to like circle around and to like slowly throughout the game. There was like that boss fight where it's like, oh, you had to like circle around and to like slowly knock down his head so that you could actually like attack it and finish him off. I'm like, that was really cool. I did enjoy that, but man, that ninja boss fight, that was...
You know, honestly, the ninja boss fight again feels very Breath of the Wild inspired to me, because that whole like dodge, you get a little slow time to hit the enemy a little bit, is what Breath of the Wild did. So it feels like, again, it pulled away from that. I also love that boss you're talking about. There's one where you use a special move by circling around it to stun it. That was another one that
You know why there was an NDA when they could just show stuff a few days later? Well, I'm guessing they wanted the onslaught of content. By setting an NDA, it means that at one point in time, a ton of footage shows up. And that's why we're doing a stream
because it uses the mechanics. But his name is just Tower. So I thought that was kind of funny. I'm like, oh, okay, Tower. That's the boss. All right, Tower.
Although I do wonder, and we should talk a little bit about like the story, or I guess lack of story that we really saw with this.
Lack of story. I mean, how much? They say they play, what, 20 minutes?
This idea that's like, oh, it's just.
You know, you can go frame by frame with those keys. Huh? I didn't know that. Bradley actually taught me something. Rare Bradley W.
Ninja, it's just Tower. Like, we saw these items that it's like, oh, if you collect enough of these, you can save Amy, it's like, save Amy.
Okay, so we're saving Amy.
Like, what's happened to Amy? And then we had a cutscene where it's like, we saw Eggman, but he was in a total...
Alright, so finally someone's mentioned it. I feel like it's the first time I've heard Eggman since we heard about this game.
totally different place. So it was just mostly Sonic, not...
Taz Kid Riot donated $5, said Easy Allies had a decent, fair first impressions that leans a bit more positive, plus a bit of lore we haven't heard. Not much, but still interesting.
Knowing what was going on, so we, the players, didn't know what was going on. We're just kind of wandering around, and the devs were like, oh, it's supposed to be a bit more of a mystery this time around. Like, it's not like this action comedy of Sonic being like, Eggman's here, Shadows.
That animation,
this time
that
around.
was
Like, it's
some
not
cool
like
shit.
this
I
action comedy of Sonic being like,
oh,
Eggman's here, Shadow's here, like, we need to stop him. Like, there's a mystery here that you have to solve, and I am curious to see.
Premier Spacebar finally in a piece. Well, I still edit videos of the Spacebar, so it's not seeing any piece.
See, like, is that the thing that sells Sonic Frontiers? The fact that there is a mystery at the core of this game that you have to try to solve. Something that we've never had before. I'm curious to try Sherlock Sonic.
Something else, too, is that what we played was essentially like the plateau in Breath of the Wild, where it's this smaller segment, and then it opens up into the open field thing. How did you feel about the open field platforming itself? Because there's also a lot of puzzles sprinkled throughout it, too. There's a lot to do in the open field.
It's fine. Like,
It's fine. It's fine. I mean,
there's also a lot of puzzles sprinkled throughout it, too. There's a lot to do in the open field.
it's fine. Like,
So enthusiastic.
well, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things
Yeah.
where it's like we've had Breath of the Wild, we've had Immortals, Phoenix Rising, we've had Horizon Forbidden West. We've had a bunch of open world games that have puzzles in them over the past year. I don't think Sonic does anything actually revolutionary with them in its open world besides
so the puzzles aren't revolutionary. Well, we know that.
the fact that everything's a bit further spaced out because Sonic runs so fast. He's basically already the mount that you would unlock for like Link and Aloy and stuff like that. So that is, I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, the puzzle's like this. That's going to sell the game. I think it.
So pretty much what we've been saying. But again, they only play like 15, 20 minutes. Maybe the later puzzles are more in depth, yada yada yada, you know.
It's just kind of your elementary.
Chevian Bot donated $5 to check SSF 1991 tweet from 35 minutes ago. Pretty sure that dude blocked me for not being positive for a game or some shit like that. Not that I use that account anymore, but Sonic has a double jump. We saw that in the footage. Alright, I'm just gonna read the article instead of reading this guy's tweets. We'll add that to the list of articles we're gonna read. We got articles to we're not even done yet. We got shit to go through.
Like open world puzzles. I'm cautiously optimistic about it.
Tails channel is tweeting stuff out as well. Alright, let's see what the almighty Tails channel is tweeting. We'll open a tab for that and we'll take a look. Okay, so it's the same article. We've got the PC Games one open, I think, as well. I think. Yeah, we got that one open. Yeah, so we're going to read that. Ian Flynn said, when the boss says kind things, it gives me warm and fuzzies. Okay. Alright, so yeah, it's the same. We're going to read the full articles.
I'm not like totally sold on it, but it is something that I'm like, oh, when it comes out, I'll probably check it out.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's, for me, one of my favorite Sonic games I've seen in the past 10 years outside of maybe Generations.
Outside of maybe Generations. So, again, to what we were saying, like, this could be, you know, better than most of the Sonic games we've gotten since the Meta era. Minus Generations. And I guess if you want to include Classic, then Mania. I don't know. Like, I might prefer over Mania just because I like Modern Sonic more. Who knows? But that would just be a Modern Sonic bias thing. But yeah, if we say the last 10 years, Generations isn't the last 10 years. So if we want to go the last 10 years, is it possible that Frontiers becomes the best Sonic game in the last 10 years? Yeah, possible, right? And this is so going to get clipped. But, I mean, you're only competing against Lost World, Boom, and Forces, right? That's it. That's it. Like, if you want to include Classic Sonic, then you have to include Mania. But then for 3D, for Modern, Lost World, Boom, Forces. That's it. So, Could it be better than all three of those? Possibly. It's probably gonna be better than Forces. It's gonna be better than Boom. Lost World is probably a holdout for me because, you know, I kind of enjoyed Lost World a little bit, but we'll see.
Honestly, though, like not.
Oh, I know, but it's like it's one where it looks like it's a step in the right direction. I'm mainly concerned about the game feel of it, but a lot of the things they're doing, I think, are steps in the right direction. So I'm really hopeful. And yeah, so that was Sonic Frontiers. Looking forward to it. Hopefully, it will be what all of us Sonic fans really hope for. So I'm hoping for that.
Yeah.
Until then, that's it for us with Sonic Frontiers and Summer Game Fest. Stay tuned for more Summer Game Fest, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.
So, GameSpot pretty much said what I've been saying. GameSpot, they pretty much said what I've been saying. Is that the combat was alright, but not the greatest combat in the world. The puzzles were a bit basic, right? Visually beautiful. But the movement isn't quite there yet. As I've been saying, in an open world, that is the place. That is the place where you need to get the movement right, because you're going to be in that world. And having that momentum, here we go again, Brim talking about momentum, having that feeling where Sonic feels that momentumous weight is what would have made it stand out. I can't guarantee, but I feel like if they had gotten the momentum shit right in his movement, it would have probably bumped up the game 5 to 10 points out of 100. Just that ability to, like, if they implemented that into the gameplay, like if you could spin dash up an incline and skip a little bit of platforming, just little things like that. If you could, like, go faster when you go down the rails because rail momentum, and a bit slower when you go up a rail, like little things like that would make it makes you feel like you have more control of the character, not that it's like guiding you. Do you know what I mean? Somebody who played the demo at Game Fest tweeted out that the spin dash is in the game, but then they got nuked like 5 minutes after they tweeted it. Well, we saw leaked footage that suggested that the spin dash was there, so it's very possible. Anyway, let's check out the Nintendo Everything clip now.
Sonic Frontiers is ambitious. That much has always been clear. The game's initial gameplay reveal may not have painted the fruits of that ambition in the most polished light. Technically, it was all a little bit rough around the edges, but even still, I've been excited and curious about the potential this new concept.
I just gotta say, like, the level design here, it's not the fact that it's like a rail and a platform. It's just the way it's so arbitrarily placed here. Like, it's just like they applied some, like, Mario Maker blocks for this section here. Like, why couldn't this have been, like, more in line with the way the environment looks? Like, why couldn't they have, like, designed it in a way that felt more in tune with everything else around here? Like, all the textures there. It just feels like they placed that square or rectangular set of blocks or whatever, and then just put the straight rail there. There's ways to, like, build it into the environment so it feels more real. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't let me look for an example. Like, if we go to let's go to Lost World. Right? Oh no, DX. Like, let's look at the platforming here. Like, everything is built into the aesthetic of the environment. Nothing feels like it was just placed there. Everything fits the look. You know, let me try Radical Highway. Right? If we go to Radical Highway, like, you have platforming sections, but it doesn't just feel like completely out of place, because they use those weird cylindrical things. Let me go to a platforming section right now. Yeah, so they use these cylindrical things, so it's still arbitrarily placed there, but it's got a similar aesthetic to everything else that's going on in the level, right? It fits, like, the vibe, if that makes sense. But, like, with here, I don't know, you've got these ruins and everything, and then you just got rectangular block with dash panel on it. I don't know, it just feels a bit like you couldn't have found some, you know, ground that was shaped similarly, that felt like it was actually supposed to be there, kind of thing. I don't know. Electrician donated $5 and said, "You think that there's going to be another villain besides Eggman?" Probably. Given that Ian Flynn is writing, it's probably going to be some deeper level. Gamer Storyboard donates $5 and said, "I can't wait for the spin dash unlocked at the beginning mod." So yeah, that's definitely going to be a thing. But just because there's a spin dash in the game doesn't guarantee momentum. It could be a stiff spin dash. That Lost World had a stiff spin dash.
A bit rough around the edges, but even still, I've been excited and curious about the potential this new concept has to redefine what a modern 3D Sonic game could look like. I was very fortunate to have an opportunity to go hands-on with the game recently at a Summer Games Fest press event, and after spending almost an hour with it, I feel like I have a much more complete picture as to the potential this game has. Sonic Frontiers plays much better than it looks at the moment, and I fully expect.
So he said it plays better than it looks. Okay.
I feel like I have a much more at a Summer Games Fest press event, and after spending almost an hour with it,
He spent almost an hour, so more than the GameSpot people.
I feel like I have a much more complete picture as to the potential this game has. Sonic Frontiers plays much better than it looks at the moment, and I fully expect that players will have a lot of fun exploring its intricately designed world once the game is released. I spent about an hour dashing, jumping, and battling my way through the sprawling, lush environment that was previously highlighted in Sonic Frontiers gameplay trailers.
The nighttime aesthetic is going to be beautiful in this game.
It feels great to play at almost every level, even in this pre-release state. The zone I explored in my demo, the green, hilly ecosystem that has previously been highlighted in trailers, is an absolute joy to explore, being both vast and dense with compelling things to do. From tucked-away platforming challenges that can lead to hidden collectibles, to giant, intimidating bosses that freely roam the environment, there is a surprisingly large amount to see and do in this first area. Better yet, what I saw of the game's content had me feeling hopeful that this could be the smartest 3D Sonic game in a while. One that really rewards player curiosity more than any other previous entry.
Alright.
Sonic Frontiers has two different playstyles to choose from. Action style, which gives Sonic a bit of extra weight as he moves around, and high speed style, which is considerably faster. Rest assured that if Sonic's speed looked a bit slow in previous gameplay trailers, it feels much better when you are actually playing it. Action style is being billed as an experience recommended for more casual players, and high speed style is described in the game as
So they know that other people have who are like casuals when it comes to Sonic have probably played other open world games because there's so many of them, and because Sonic is so much faster, they don't want to alienate those people, so they made a slower mode basically.
For people who are used to Sonic games. While the game definitely feels better to play at a faster speed in my opinion, it's just more exhilarating and challenging. Action style did a great job at helping me get accustomed to how Sonic moves in this new open environment, and it was a great introduction to the physicality of his combat style.
Planum G donated $2 and said there's no spin dash. The guy got it confused. Okay.
Controlling Sonic felt really natural in Sonic Frontiers, and his movement style combined with the many grind rails and boosts located around the environment allows for what felt like a lot of room for creative traversal of the world. In fact, what I played of Sonic Frontiers was all remarkably freeform. While you are following a story with an ultimately set through line, how quickly you get to the next part of the game and what you do along the way is almost entirely up to you.
So is it like quests and side quests and shit in this, or is it, I don't know, was it just get the collectibles and progress?
Your progress in Sonic Frontiers seems to be primarily gated by portals, which can only be activated after you complete a certain number of activities around the map. But what activities you decide to do, and the order in which you do them, seems mostly up to you. Want to go explore that massive tower in the distance? Hey, if you can find a way to the top, go for it. Want to focus on locating these small environmental puzzles that are scattered about, or participate in some timing-based challenges? Well, you can do that too. Want to go challenge one of the many large bosses that are stomping and sometimes flying around the environment? The game will not stop you. There is even fishing, apparently. Don't ask me how that works. Your guess is as good as mine.
Fishing confirmed. We're gonna get a little big side quest. Big side quest. Hey.
At this point. And sure, nothing is keeping you from racing through the game as fast as possible, but if you want to collect as
The speedruns for Frontier is gonna go ham though.
many rings as you can, or just generally look cool while dashing around, you'll really want to take some time and explore alternate routes. Now, look, it is weird that there are grind rails just floating around the game world, tethered to nothing, and there were a few that I rode on that didn't really seem to go anywhere, but most of them did, and the ones that did often led to something interesting. And while I didn't receive any specific details, The Sega rep that I spoke to at the event said that there are multiple other biomes in the game beyond the green and hilly zone we've seen so far.
Alright, so confirmation of multiple islands again.
Although what those other regions will look like is anyone.
Silver would be perfect here. Yeah, I mean, Silver's a character that's not really relying on momentum, right? At least from what we played in 06. I mean, 06 didn't have much momentum, but yeah, a Silver mod for Frontiers would go ham. I'm not gonna lie. As long as they like reworked his animations for the combat, I think a Silver mod would go really ham.
Guess. Don't expect combat to be the mindless breeze that it has the reputation for being in other 3D Sonic games either. Very few of the enemies you'll encounter are mindless foes. Most of them are either very aggressive, very resilient, or very large. Each encounter that I played through felt important, and each type of enemy I faced in this first area felt distinct. One of them, for example, was invulnerable unless I managed to use my side loop ability to draw a trail around it.
You say side loop?
Vulnerable unless I managed to use my side loop ability to draw a trail around it.
Side loop, is that the name of the spin cycle now?
At which point it would be stunned long enough for me to get in a few attacks. Another one required me to use Sonic's homing feature to chip away at armor piece by piece, and my favorite encounter, a massive lumbering creature that vaguely reminded me of Horizon Zero Dawn's tall necks, required me to actually run up the side of the boss and then get above its shield to perform some mid-air attacks on its weak points. You can also parry attacks and perform ground stomps, so Sonic's repertoire of skills is already pretty comprehensive even at this early stage. And in classic Sonic fashion, if you lose all your rings,
Don't say classic Sonic fashion, that's PTSD.
which can happen in only a few hits if you're careless.
Okay, so here he said,
Fashion, if you lose all your rings, which can happen in only a few hits if you're careless.
oh, if you're careless, okay, so you're gonna grab them back, that's why I said few hits.
Sonic will meet his demise. Fortunately, any damage you've dealt to a boss before you die seems to persist when you return to them.
Wait, so you die in the middle of defeating a boss, and you respawn, and the boss's health is exactly where you left it. What's the point of even playing good if you're just gonna respawn, right? Like, if there's no you could just spam the same shit, and even if you die, you're just gonna respawn. The boss is gonna be exactly where he was in terms of health, like no punishment, right? Like that's a bit. So
the penalty for messing up isn't too harsh, but it's all just challenging enough that I felt an engaging amount of pressure to maintain awareness as to what my foes were doing. Also, it sounds like this version of Sonic will get upgraded over time if you choose to. Collect enough skill pieces around the environment, and these will eventually merge into skill points that can be used to unlock new abilities for Sonic, and somehow make him even faster if you want. I don't know for sure what the full scope of this system is, but it seems promising at this early stage, and I'm curious as to how vastly these...
They said you couldn't actually die on that demo. That might be we saw footage of someone dying though.
Sonic Frontiers experience may or may not change depending on how I choose to upgrade my version of Sonic. One thing I didn't get to see too much of in this demo was the story, although from what I did see, don't expect some big emotional magnum opus. While Sonic doesn't really seem to talk too much during gameplay,
Sonic doesn't seem to talk too much during gameplay.
the few cutscenes I saw contain the same old charming goofiness that all Sonic players are deeply familiar with at this point. It's a little incongruous with the pensive piano notes that soundtracked my exploration, but the focus of Frontiers seems very much to be on the gameplay, which I'm really relieved about personally. The big unknown for me, really, is if Sonic Team will get this game to a technical state that's solid enough for a release later this year. What I played was very much an early pre-release build, so it's not necessarily a metric of how the final game will turn out, and what I experienced was technically solid overall. There are just a lot of rough edges at the moment, from pretty egregious pop-in and some bland textures and lighting to a subpar resolution.
Subpar resolution, okay, so.
And
yeah, it was an earlier
wasn't
build,
even playing the
yada
Switch
yada.
version. Still
Wait, and what?
to a
Switch version?
subpar resolution, and I wasn't even playing the Switch version.
Oh, you wasn't even playing, okay.
Still, there's plenty of time between now and the end of the year, so there's no reason the game needs to launch in a rough shape, and mechanically, everything is fun to play as it is, I thought, and that's truly a statement that I am very pleased to say out loud. I left my demo of Sonic Frontiers overall very impressed with what I played, and I'm very much looking forward to playing more. I get the sense that the surface has only been barely scratched as to the scope of this game, Sonic Frontiers is currently scheduled to launch at some point this year on Nintendo Switch and other platforms. For all the latest and greatest news as to what is new and exciting in the world of Nintendo, keep it tuned in to NintendoEverything.com.
Man, they need to hurry up and announce the Switch version is cloud. We're waiting to hear that shit. Anyway, okay, I think we haven't watched this one yet, so we gotta watch this one.
Hello to the future.
Is his last name really Bloodworth?
As we mentioned Saturday night, which it is right now as we're shooting this, there are things that we could not talk about in our broadcast, but we can talk about whenever you are watching this.
A couple of the most exciting things, I would say.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like really bummed that these could be on Saturday night.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that the
Chris
show,
$7.92 said we need silver playable in this game, Azuka.
good or bad, however your take may be, Sonic Frontiers.
Blood, based on what I had seen of Sonic Frontier
You called him Blood for short.
before this, I went in with very low expectations. Visually, I still think it's pretty bland, but I think that this is a game that will click more with you once you get your hands on it, and I don't think just sitting and watching it really conveys.
Man, the amount of people, oh my god, the amount of people who've been like, you have to play it, you can't look at it, like, I mean, yes, that applies to games in general, like, obviously playing it is going to give you more data than just looking, but the way they're harping on it with this game, it makes me even more intrigued, because I'm just like, man, like, I just want to play it now, just give me the fucking demo, because, like, if I have to hear that one more time and there's no demo to play, like, I want to play it, but, you know, Sega should fly me out, man. They should fly me out. I promise I'll be nice. I'll be positive. Yanni donated $5 to Super Chat. Thank you for the support. D-Boy donated $15 and said, hopefully this is a good game, but either way, I have enjoyed watching your channel and hearing your opinions on Sonic in general. Keep it real, brother. Thank you for the support, man. That's all I do is I try and be honest, you know. And I think Frontiers will be good. Whether it will be great, I don't know yet, but I don't think it's. I think it's above. So far, what we're seeing today, it looks like it's above mediocre territory, somewhat. I don't know. I don't know.
Is how it feels as a player, and I was genuinely into it. And what I mean by that is Sonic in a more open structure is actually pretty enticing. And I think the way they've laid out these zones is really satisfying to
Someone said Jason Griffith is the Tobey Maguire of Sonic. Facts.
explore, because it feels like they kind of take full advantage of the space that you're in. And so what I mean by that is there are different collectibles, and I didn't like, there's one where you get these hearts and you're trying to restore Amy's memories.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that means.
The demo starts in this, like, kind of weird vibe. Because, like, Sonic is just, like, laying like a corpse in the rain. Just, like, passed out in the grass.
I mean, we've all been there.
What's happening, Sonic? And they say something about being separated from Amy and Tails.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, and so, like you're saying, once... There's a lot.
We did skip the opening cinematic.
Yeah,
just so I could get
they didn't show us that. One thing that did bug me, and hopefully it's not as bad in the final game, is that there was just like, it felt like you're getting constantly interrupted by like tutorial pop-up kind of things.
Yes, that was definitely happening.
Yeah, and one of the
it seems like every single reviewer didn't like the tutorial. Like, how bad of a tutorial was it that no one liked it?
Those things were saying that, like, yeah, these little heart things are, you know, for Amy.
I definitely forgive the tutorialization because I think it is very different from a traditional 2D or 3D Sonic experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I assume that entirely goes away once you're used to things, or maybe not, but once you kind of get past, you know, the screens interrupting you and telling you information.
Oh, it's one of those annoying tutorials where it stops and puts something on the screen you can't move instead of just talking while you're playing.
Actually getting into it was fun and satisfying in kind of those like short burst moment ways, and I hate to use this example because it's so overused, but I think it does.
Were the tutorials in Riders Republic bad? The tutorials in Riders Republic. Let me see. I don't even remember the tutorials in this game. Oh yeah, subscribe to the non-Sonic channel, link in the description. Premulous. What were the tutorials like? I don't think there was any bad tutorial in Riders Republic. Like, trying to jog my memory. It was a pretty fun game from what I played. There was no, like, serious annoyance that I experienced. But yeah, subscribe to Premulous, non-Sonic channel. Very lit over there. Very lit.
Does illustrate the point. Very Breath of the Wild, right? So I would think, like, in Breath of the Wild, you just have those moments where you sort of stumble upon something, maybe it'd be like a moblin camp, you know, and you just deal with it. Sort of like these organic moments that you would kind of run into. Sonic Frontiers has that where, like, I would see a collectible in the distance, right? And be like, okay, how do I get there? Oh, if I go to these boxes and I break the boxes, there's a spring, and then that'll lead me up here. Okay, I bounced up there, but I messed
new screenshots,
it up and I fell down. So it's like, okay, I need to go, I need to bounce, I need to boost, right? And so you're sort of piecing together really what are essentially micro platforming puzzles, right? And you know, you can see on the map, right? It's like this thing is here, this thing is here, this thing is here, and so you can kind of go around the environment and just sort of figure things out. But what I mean by using all of the space available, right, is like there would be moments where I'd be like, oh, there's like something up, there's a rail in the sky.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's like, oh, I need to like pay attention, I need to be constantly looking above me, you know, not just in front of me. And it's like, how do I get to that rail, right? And then again, going back to that example of sort of piecing things together, how to get there.
Yeah.
So
And there were things where you had to do multiple times, just like figuring out the timing. It seemed a little tricky there.
Yeah, definitely. And it was kind of interesting because there was one heart collectible that I went after where the first time I did it, I almost got it, but then I found out in the next, like, one of the next attempts that that was not the intended.
Yo, Yanni with the $10. Do you think that they'll change this model? I really would prefer if they made his claws the same length as the CGI model to make it consistent. He looks dull compared to his Unleashed model. I don't know. I don't know if they'll change the model, honestly. It seems like they're not planning to, which means now's the time to be on PC and get those mods, because if you're on console, you're probably going to be stuck with this model. Chief Tekinawa donated $5 and said, hey man, I can't stay. I just wanted to donate a bit since it's been a minute. Bless up. Thank you for the support, man. Thank you.
Way. And so that was kind of a cool moment where it's like, oh, like you're supposed to do this, but I almost got up over here using this other method, right? And so, you know, you think about Sonic, right? And it's very much of like your.
So I'm guessing the reason why they didn't allow the people to record their own footage is because maybe the booth wasn't running the game super smoothly. I don't know. Or maybe not at high resolution, so the footage wouldn't have looked as good. Or plus, watching some reviewers fumbling on the game probably wouldn't make the game look good. That's why all these different impressions videos are using the same footage that's been provided by Sega.
We're kind of locked and going forward, I think, in a.
And apparently, cyberspace we don't get to see it till the end of June, so they're hiding that until the end of June. And cyberspace was in the demo, and all these impressions, no one is talking about cyberspace. So there's clearly some second level NDA where it's like, don't talk about the cyberspace levels until the end of June.
A lot of examples. And so here it was nice to kind of have that playfulness. And you have different.
That's such a weird marketing thing. We know cyberspace is there. It leaked. You told us about it. Now you got people giving impressions on the game, and no one's allowed to talk about cyberspace. We have to talk about just the open world. I even forgot halfway through the stream that there was cyberspace.
Different tools at your disposal. So I mentioned the boost, but there will also be like these balloons that will pop, and you use the homing attack to pop and kind of elevate yourself from one point to another.
There's also a skill tree.
There's also a skill tree.
Which is interesting. The first one that was unlocked, they showed in the earlier demo, which is called the Psy Loop, where you kind of have like a line.
What's this link? June 29th before we get cyberspace.
that follow Sonic.
Yeah.
And anytime you complete a circle, you would just get rings.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah. So if you just do it like kind of on nothing.
Yeah, but then you can also circle around, kind of like some of those Kirby games. You know, you can circle around different devices. The one example they showed before was like when you circle around the torches, you kind of extinguish the torches.
Yep.
There was this one enemy that you fought where you're like, it was like a hard shelled kind of enemy. And when you circle it, then the shell kind of pops up in the air and gives you an advantage to like pummel the enemy before it pops back down.
Yeah.
Enemy.
See that again?
When you circle around the torches, you kind of extinguish the torches.
Yep.
There was this one enemy that you fought where you're like, it was like a hard shelled kind of enemy. And when you circle it, then the shell kind of pops up in the air and gives you an advantage to like pummel the enemy before it pops back down.
Yeah, and that was something that I think was actually...
Yo, Toxic ZZPH donates $10. I think the weird climbing and run off the wall animation is because Sonic's hands and feet are magnetized to the wall when he gets up it. There's a blue aura around his hands and feet when he does. I mean, that's a plausible explanation, and if they put that in the game, then I'll allow it, right? I'm saying I'll allow it as if they're going to change it for me, but if that explanation isn't there, then it just feels a bit weird. But again, they can find a way to explain it, right? I mean, Michael Jackson was able to moonwalk because of that kind of magnetic shit, so if he can do it, you know.
Conveyed pretty well in the demo, and again, it was a very tutorialized area, but...
Yeah.
Wait, Allie hates sour cream and onion Pringles? What the fuck? That's bullshit. Come on, they're lit.
It wasn't even very wide open, right? It was kind of like...
It was segmented.
Like a funnel until you got to like a bigger space.
Yeah.
Which is about when our time ran out.
But you know, you had like very basic enemies that I felt like you could just easily just mash the homing attack and get through them, right? Just normal mobs essentially.
Which was like woefully missing in the earlier, like the videos we saw before. It was like, is there anything out here? Or, you know,
yeah,
just
things
running around. Yeah.
You deal with very easily, and then you have these like boss encounters, and they're more involved, where I feel like I was locked in an arena against this boss, and you know, it had like twin blade arms, and it had different
they actually called it a ninja
attacks. Yeah. And so, you know, that was a little bit more complicated, right? And then you have the armored enemy where you had to use a totally different technique where you're trying to...
There's reflections in the puddles. Oh, yeah. The details are here crazy.
To trace around it, to get it so its shell pops up and you know, you can attack it. And
There's another one that you thought that they called a tower. And it had like a spinning thing at the top, and it was like shooting out.
Yeah. And so they're like, hey, use the dodge that you have. And what's interesting is you have to be locked on to dodge on the ground, but then if you jump, you can dodge even if you're not locked on, which is interesting.
Oh, I need to go back and hear that.
Attack
it. Salt D's donated £4.49 and said, what's your overall thoughts on the new gameplay? I think the animations have improved somewhat. The combat, I think I'm a bit more sold on the combat now. Like before, I thought it was tolerable, but here I feel like it's actually decent. Not amazing, but decent. And what else is there to talk about? Visuals still look great. Movement is still an issue. I've said that from the beginning. The movement is not fluid Sonic movement in the sense that it doesn't have that momentum, which I feel like would have helped. But yeah, I feel like kind of the same way I felt before, but a bit less grim, I guess.
There's another one that you thought that they called a tower, and it had like a spinning thing at the top, and it was like shooting out.
Yeah. And so they're like, hey, use the dodge that you have. And what's interesting is you have to be locked on to dodge on the ground, but then you have
to be locked on.
You have to be locked on to dodge on the ground.
Makes sense.
But then if you jump, you can dodge even if you're not locked on, which is interesting. And again, kind of going to the open world aspect, I got hit by that thing that I was fighting, and then I was like, oh man, I need rings. And it's like, I can just run away from this thing, and there are rings up on this rock, and I can go there. And so again, like that kind of openness was interesting. for the Sonic design. Because if you think of like a classic 2D Sonic boss, right, you just have to frantically try to pick up the rings that drop when you get hit, and you can do that here as well. Which
what was interesting with that tower thing is because, you know, it was like you were like knocking like the levels of it out from beneath it, so you like knock a piece.
Salt and vinegar is the worst flavor. Fuck salt and vinegar. Shit.
Piece out, knock a piece out. But then once it got so low that the spinning part was basically on the ground, then it kind of changed into like a top, and so you had to approach it differently.
I honestly, the approach didn't feel that different because like I was hitting its bottom and then I had to hit the top, but I didn't feel like I really had to do that much that was different. But yeah, I think all these fights on their own are pretty simple, but it was nice even in the short time that we had that it felt like there was a good variety in terms of the style of fights, which was cool. There are also these like little birds that are
the Cocos?
that are littered around that you can go and collect.
Yeah, they said you take them to the Elder, but we did not find the Elder yet.
Yeah, and I don't know what rewards you're given for doing so.
Hopefully not a piece of poop.
But yeah, so there are, you know, classic Sonic things. There are spring pads.
I'm gonna say classic Sonic things. It's PTSD, like just
like the
PTSD.
Sonic Adventure, like things that you grab on there and that are attached to a rope, and then you go up. There's rails, and then when you're on the rails, you just
the fuck is that?
Hit left or right to switch between them.
The fuck is that?
But I think overall, the thing that I want to say is it very much...
That's a beautiful screenshot. I just have to say, this is a beautiful screenshot.
...had that kind of Breath of the Wild experience. It's something that was really intoxicating about Breath of the Wild, where I just had fun poking around this world and trying...
Those are the flowers you saw in that teaser.
...trying to figure things out and going at my own pace. And really trying to see how many things that I could uncover. Again, that playfulness was really fun. And I felt like I was
seeing this enemy close up, the level of detail on the enemy. This game is gonna go so hard in 4K. Oh my god.
It was one of those games where I was like, I just want to keep sitting here and getting all the things off the map, right? And you know, I think any game that can put that in you is good. A concern that I have is you think about 3D Sonic, and that's very much present here. Sonic is a little squirrely, right? And so when you have a lot of room to move, and you can really take full advantage of that speed.
Yo, Toxic's easy with a $10 donation. I'm excited. This footage really helped me get a little bit more excited for the game, and I think it'll be good. Sega really doesn't know how to market games, and if they do some polishing, I'll be happy. Yeah, it's proof that their marketing has been shit. I mean, the idea that cyberspace is a big part of this game, and we're not allowed to see it till 29th of June, I feel like that's a bit, you know, I get that the game's not coming out till, like, at the earliest November, so there's time. But it's, like, an important part of the game. You think, I guess they want to get people onto the whole open world thing first before they go and show you the original standard Sonic levels.
No problems, right? And there are a lot of control things that you can do. There's wall running. There's like a counter that you can do. Like he has a pretty, or it seemed like decently expansive repertoire of things available to him. But you know, when you get to the more precision platforming, where it's like, oh, I'm just jumping from this floating square to that floating square. It was definitely doable, right? Like you can do it. I didn't feel like the controls were so squirrely that I wasn't able to accomplish those things, but it definitely felt looser than I would have liked. But what was interesting at the beginning of the demo, you can choose a high-speed mode, which they recommend for people familiar with Sonic games, and then there is also an action mode, which I didn't do.
King Munch Animations donated $2 and said, "Just admit it, you're hype, Prem." Look, I don't get hype easily. Okay, I mean, okay, I got hype for Spider-Man coming to PC, but that's because I already knew that game was lit. So it was kind of like we're getting a lit game on PC. But in general, I don't get hype easily. But I don't know. Again, when it comes to like Sonic, the movement is so important. So because they didn't get that right, for me, it's it's always gonna feel like what if they had done that, you know. But I'm not saying the game will be guaranteed bad because of that. I'm sure the game will still be decent, right? But that taking it from decent to amazing, if they're not gonna have the momentum to take it from decent to amazing, then they have to compensate by the cyberspace levels being bangers. Because if there's 28 cyberspace levels according to the leaks, if they are fire, then that could tip the game into a more positive light. Because right now the combat again looks solid. The puzzles so far look basic. So we're gonna have to see more intense puzzles, you know, combat getting more difficult, platforming challenges getting more difficult, and we're gonna have to see cyberspace. We're gonna have to see what environments they use in the cyberspace, which according to the leaks are all generations levels. In terms of assets. We want to see what the other 3 islands look like. There's so many things in this game we haven't seen that I don't know where I would put it. But the movement issue is enough for me to not put it at like, oh, I'm super hyped. Because like, there's a fluidity that's missing. Like, I'm going to feel that.
I don't know anything about...
Oh, God. Ali, why are you linking this in the chat? Stop trying to embarrass me. Don't do that to your boy.
Which they recommend for people not familiar with Sonic games. And so I wonder...
yeah, what that's like.
Those differences are, yeah. I was not expecting to walk away from this demo being like, man, I'm really excited to play more of that, but that is 100% how I feel.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like, as you're saying, like, you know, the difference of being hands-on because, you know, I just let you play the whole time. I didn't grab it. And it's like, it's still not quite grabbing me, but I also, at the same time, I feel like they did a kind of a disservice to this game the way that they rolled it out. And some of those criticisms are still there. Like, they're still like, you know, the environment still looks kind of weird, and the way things pop in is like, okay, that's strange, especially like elements like the rails and all of that, and like the just things that are, you know, like rough for
what custom physics are you guys talking about? Okay,
seemingly no reason. Like when you would smash like a crate or another container, like the frame rate would be really low on like how it would break apart.
Yeah, I think that's totally true. There is this roughness there. Like, I would try to go and interact with something, and the prompt wouldn't come up.
Frontiers has been confirmed to have in-depth sliders to customize Sonic's physics and controls. Okay. And you lot better not be bullshitting your boy.
Have to go away and then come back.
You lot better not be bullshitting your... Don't!
So yeah, there's definitely
bullshit your boy.
Flew off.
Don't say some shit that you can't back up.
Flew off the side instead of going.
Beats. You... Listen, okay? Don't be saying some shit that you can't back up. Don't be saying some shit that you can't... Let's see this shit. The settings include 12 or so sliders to customize the way Sonic controls. There are 5 different sliders related to Sonic speed as well as turning, acceleration, oh my god. No, you're not putting me on the hype train today. No. You're not. I have to read this article. Hold on. We're going to read this article next. Let me finish this video. We've got like 2 minutes left, and then we're going to read this gamer article because clearly everyone is quoting this shit. We're going to have to read that shit next.
Where you're trying to go.
Sure, yeah.
Because you can't do this. You can't put me on the hype train like that. No, I'm sorry. Last time I went on the hype train, you took me to Forces Avenue, okay? And that place was not nice.
So definitely, I think there's plenty of criticism to levy at the demo that we played, but
you can't just
seeing it actually populate.
I've been saying difficulty options for years. You can't just do it. Like, they're actually gonna do it. Fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Seeing it actually populate with the collectibles.
Right.
Like all of that stuff makes a big difference because those things give the world more of a sense of purpose.
Right, and
there's more than that too that like we can't even get into yet. But there's more objective to this game than the earlier demos made it seem. And
I do think, like, I wonder how I would feel if I was watching you play, because I do think there really is something to getting your hands on it and actually being the one that is, you know, attempting these little micro puzzles and having the freedom to go where you want to go. And so I'm hesitant to like sit here and fully endorse this and be like, yeah, this is going to be amazing. I don't know that because it was a super, super, super tiny section of this game, but I'm like way more on board
Bradley
with it
said,
than
"Man,
I was
they're about to get me
expecting
hyped."
and that
Bradley,
purely
me
came
and you,
from
we went through the Balan pain, so we know how it feels.
Yeah.
Okay, that Balan Wonderworld shit caught deep.
Yeah.
Narco was supposed to save us.
Right. And
Forces didn't save us. Narco didn't save
how we
us.
feel once we get, significantly more time.
Fool me one time, shame on you.
Thanks for checking it out.
Fool me twice,
and
come put the blame on you.
We got more coming at you.
Let's read this article. We have to read this article because people are saying some fucking shit. And okay, Sonic Frontiers preview from the gamer. Our Blue Boy is back. There's plenty of Sonic charm in the Bluebird's first open zone outing, and I'm cautiously optimistic, the amount of times I've seen this phrase, that's gonna deliver the goods. Okay, shortcut scene. Sonic finds himself on an unfamiliar island, separated from his friends Tails and Amy. A talking drone gives Sonic some cryptic direction about collecting goobers to save his friend. While they chat, we instantly cut to... How long is this thing? Okay. We instantly cut to an extreme close-up of Sonic's hands. After a few quips and some light exposition, I gain control of Sonic and slam down on the turbo button, which I refuse to let go of for the entire length of the demo. So there's a turbo button he didn't let go of. So is that unlimited boost then, or what? Try to run up a stone staircase, but instead get launched into the air at a 45. Then watch as Sonic helplessly tumbles down a cliff while the screen fades to black. I didn't play nearly enough to decide whether or not this is a good Sonic game, but it is certainly a Sonic game. I mean, that's not really helpful. Before I get into the specific gameplay, I have to remember the settings menu, which came up automatically at the start of the demo. I don't know if this will make it into the release version. So we're not sure if we'll make it to the release version, but there's a dozen or so sliders that allow you to customize the way Sonic controls. There are different sliders related to Sonic's speed, as well as turning, acceleration, resistance, and more. It better make it into the final version, because like if they take that out, I can understand why you want to give players the opportunity to customize the way Sonic handles to some degree. Sonic has an all ages fan base, but this felt like more like Sega isn't sure how to tune the physics, so it's just making us figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Look, just keep it there. I just stood every option to the max, and honestly, it felt pretty good. There's not really any harm here. There's nothing to add to the long list of Frontiers quirks. I've got a few donations actually. Let me see. Izeka donated $2, said Forces 2, I'm telling you. OJ Luxy donated £2, said here comes the hype train, Prem, choo choo. Manimations donated $5 and said I think the story is going to carry this game because of Ian, but the gameplay and RPG elements so far is nice. The animations need fixing though. I mean, I don't want story to carry the game. I mean, gameplay's got to carry a game for me though. Dakota Whitehouse donated $1, said if this is true about the slider BS Frontiers, Ian sounds like right now a 4-star hotel. Do not mess this up, Sega. Azure XL donated $10 and said, what do you do, Premier? I was the one on Twitter debunked by KT, but you literally have people in there and they're mostly making sure the younger minority, they spotted me out because I was only 20. I actually don't know what you're talking about. I have zero idea what you're talking about. But thank you for the donation. But these sliders, acceleration, resistance, that's not really a guarantee of momentum, right? I don't know if there's a magic setting here that you turn on. I feel like the resistance would probably be that, right? Like maybe if you turn up the resistance, then you go on a rail. Then it's like, oh, you don't just go up the rail because you're on it and you're not boosting. Maybe it actually slows down. I don't know, right? This might be some hopium copium shit because it didn't specifically say that it was going to do that. So I'm not going to take this as momentum confirmed. They said turning, because as we've been looking at all of this Frontiers footage, quite frankly, we couldn't really fully pin down the control. There were debates on how everything moved. So again, that super like quick turning is probably turning the turn thing up to the max, right? Speed, we're gonna max that out. Turning, I probably wouldn't put turning on max because it seemed too quick in the footage that I've seen before. So I probably wouldn't have turning on max. acceleration, I mean, if you wanted to accelerate faster, then it'll be more like Heroes. If you accelerate a bit slower, it would be like SA1. And then resistance. And he said and more. He said speed, turning, acceleration, resistance, and more. But he said there's 5 sliders. Why would you say and more when you already mentioned 4 of them? Why not mention the last one? What if the last one is momentum? Or something related to that? He said there are 5 sliders, and then you mentioned 4 things. I don't know. But this is going to be an interesting one. If we get the demo and we can test this, that will be the ultimate thing. That will be the ultimate thing. Beats said there might just be debug leftovers, or they want to gauge how people want to control or implement that into the final game. It very well could not end up in the final game. I don't know. Oh, it's interesting. It's interesting. But yeah, if they're unsure on how people want the physics to be and they're saying, listen, tune the shit yourself, I will 100% tune that shit myself. I don't give a fuck, okay? If you can't do it on your own, I'll put the sliders exactly where I want them and get it exactly how I want. I mean, it's not like this game has any online, so it's not like, oh, you're cheating by turning the speed up or turning this down. If someone has an easier experience or whatever, it's like, okay. I guess for speed runs, you have to have like a set setting that you use. Floating Kites donated $1 and said, so Ugly Sonic and Project 2022 both got redemption arcs back to back. By the way, I think they're trying to advertise by building up good word of mouth through critics who still use the Sonic as had a rough transition to 3D spiel 20 years later on their site. I mean, I'm sure they want critics on their side naturally, because, you know, they got IGN on their side, IGN Japan, you know, they got other critics on their side, so they said they were targeting higher review scores, so that's probably why they did so many focus tests. Sonic 2 is proof that there's nothing wrong with human characters. So it took you until Sonic 2 to prove that humans and Sonic aren't bad. You've been shitting on humans and Sonic for how many decades? Ugh. Long live Chris. I got the chance to run around the first Annalise of several open zone islands. Several Sega's term. More than 2, but not many, so 4. The 4 leak still stands for now. Alright? And check out the different enemies, points of interest, and collectibles Sonic can find. The world is started with platforming challenges, combat encounters, puzzles, and more. You never have to go far to find something new to investigate. While the density of POIs, is that places of interest, keeps things engaged, and there's a noticeable lack of flow between them. I tried to look for lines that connected all of the different platform elements together, but I found everything to be pretty segmented. I think they talk about the way like platforms are just arbitrarily placed in the sky and shit like that. It doesn't feel like it's a part of the world fully. I searched it up to get a more specific meaning, Ali. You know I did it, okay? Relax. I tried to look for lines that connected all of the different platforms. Okay. The world feels like it's made of lots of little tiles that each have something interesting on them, but they don't fit together in a cohesive way. That's pretty much what we already saw. Instead of building momentum by navigating the environment with precision, like you would a linear Sonic game, you're just running from one place of interest to the next. I don't think he's talking about physics momentum, but then again, he said building momentum by navigating the environment with precision, but then he uses linear. You're just running from one place of interest to the next, stopping each. I think what he means here is that the level design is not built around momentum, right? Because having momentum is one thing. If there's not enough inclines that you can abuse it on, then you can't really use it, right? So if it's not designed around momentum, then there's gonna be very few areas where you could actually pull off some momentum as shit. So I think that's what he means by that. You're running from one place to the next, stopping each time to engage with whatever you find. This could just be a symptom of the early game, which is frequently interrupted by tutorials and tooltips, and I hope later islands have a more handcrafted feel. It's a shame that what I played felt so staccato, because controlling Sonic actually felt pretty good. There's a lot of debates on controlling Sonic, whether it feels good or not. Some people are saying it does, some people are saying it doesn't. Control is obviously very subjective, you know, I know that for sure. Everyone's got their own opinions on control. Sonic's movements are snappy and responsive, and it's relatively easy to be precise while platforming. Man, I need a strepsil, man. My throat is getting killed right now. Like, seriously. Ugh. Where's my shit? Mike donates $5 and said, what are your thoughts on Frontiers being delayed? Frontiers isn't being delayed. In fact, check my latest video. I talk about how Frontiers is not being delayed. Izuka, head of Sonic team, basically said they're not delaying it unless all their employees get sick on some COVID shit. If all their employees are fully functional, game coming out this year. Breath of the Wild 2 next year. They want to get their money in this holiday while everyone's desperate for like Breath of the Wild 2. And they're like, we don't have it. Here's Frontiers, and it runs on Switch. Maybe runs on Switch. I don't know. Anyway, Sonic's moves are snappy and responsive. It's relatively easy to be precise while platforming. Homing attacks lock on predictably and fairly consistently, and you have a lot more control both on the ground and in the air than I expected. While running, the shoulder buttons will make Sonic juke left and right without losing momentum, okay? Which is useful for dodging attacks as you approach an enemy. The aforementioned boost is on the right trigger. I find it interesting that they moved the boost to the right trigger. I'm guessing because they're using the face buttons for combat shit, so the boost got moved to the trigger. I like boosting the trigger. I think that's good for this game. It will give you an instant burst of speed followed by a sustained speed until you run out of energy. Okay. You can double jump in the air and use the boost to dash forward long distances. So that air dash was the boost bar, and that was the air boost. Okay. Combined with the homing attack, you can put some pretty impressive air combos. I didn't feel like the boosted speed was nearly fast enough while running around the island, but you upgrade Sonic speed throughout the game by finding Lost Coco. Think Koroks and Breath of the Wild. Okay, yeah. Sonic actually has a pretty robust progression path this time around. All of his base stats, speed, attack, defense, and ring capacity. Ring capacity, is that like the size of the boost gauge? Could be incrementally upgraded by finding hidden collectibles. Sonic also gains new abilities throughout the game and could be upgraded spending skill points. So it's like Unleashed, SA1, SA2, where you get like upgrades like, oh, you got these shoes, you can do this move now kind of thing. So speed, attack, defense, and ring capacity. So given that he has rings, I don't know how effective defense will be, but upgrading speed and attack will probably be important. Ring capacity will be important. Mike donated $2 and said they just announced it. What delay are you talking about? They didn't announce the delay for Frontiers. That's not true. Come on. There's no Frontiers delay. Hold on. Hold the phone. Ugh. Where was I? Now see, I lost my train of thought. He gains new abilities that can be upgraded by spending skill points. I got to try one of the new abilities called Cycloop. When you hold down on Y, Sonic leaves a trail behind him while he runs. Everyone's got different names for this thing. I've heard Spin Cycle, Cycloop. Someone called it a Side Loop. Or maybe he was saying Cycloop and I heard Side Loop because that sounded like a loop on the side. Maybe it is Cycloop. Okay, cool. When you hold down Y. Why not? When you hold down Y, Sonic leaves a trail behind him while he runs. If you draw a closed circle, a variety of things can happen. Its ability is used to solve puzzles, find hidden items, or stun enemies in combat. I would like to see the camera pull back into a more top-down perspective while you activate Cycloop, so you can actually see the circle you're drawing. But I think it's an interesting and versatile mechanic nonetheless. Speaking of combat, this was the area that surprised me the most because I expected very little and came away fairly impressed. The enemies are robotic and have an ancient alien technology aesthetic. They're pseudo-organic, like baby's first Geiger. What is that? I don't even know what that is. Homing attacks will only get you so far, and mashing X to unleash a torrent of kicks and punches, while satisfying, will often get you killed. But who cares if you get killed, right? Because apparently you respawn and the boss is still at the same level of health, so you can just keep mashing that. I mean, I'm sure kids will do that shit. You have to learn attack patterns and wait for the right time to go in, dodge attacks, and resist the temptation to overcommit. Combat is fast, flashy, and a lot more engaging than I was expecting. The camera occasionally turns to the real enemy when you get too fancy with your movement. But overall, the combat is one of my favorite parts of the demo. Okay. Platforming challenges that reward you the opportunity to reveal parts of the map in a scattered checkerboard order. I saw some of that in the footage. You're also searching for memory tokens, which are used to free Sonic's friends. How many friends? We know Tails and Amy, but who else? In the demo, he found all of Amy's memory tokens and released some kind of digital imprint on her from a futuristic jail cell. Okay. Tails was also mentioned at the start, but I don't know what other Sonic characters will be in the game. Eggman does make a brief appearance, and I got the impression he's just as lost and confused as Sonic is. This could be interesting. There's another core gameplay mechanic in Frontiers that, according to the NDA I signed, I'm not allowed to talk about until June 29. So, cyberspace, okay? If you've been following the IGN first coverage, it's already been revealed on what... So you just admitted that IGN have already talked about it, but you can't talk about it to the 29th. Maybe IGN will show cyberspace footage before everyone else because they got that deal with IGN. PME donated €2. Thoughts about them including the Shower Garden? I don't think they ever confirmed Shower Garden. I haven't seen that yet, so I can't really speak on that. If they have one in there, then cool, but it's not like a big deal for me personally. Like, I'm a bit over the Shower Garden thing. Like, I used to love it, but I don't know. Okay, based on the 30 minutes I played, Sonic Frontiers reminds me a lot of Pokemon's Legends Arceus. Both games are first attempts to reimagine a stagnating series in a modern way. While there's some questionable design decisions and plenty of frustrations to be found, they're both a huge step in the right direction. I don't think Sonic Frontiers is reaching the full potential of what an open zone Sonic game could be. I could see that. But playing it inspires me with all the possibilities of where things might go from there. Unlike Legends Arceus, however, which exhausts itself in the first few hours, I have a feeling there's still a lot to discover in Sonic Frontiers. And if you're already indoctrinated into the cult of our Lord and Savior, the Sonic the Hedgehog, I can say with confidence that you're going to love it. Let's be honest, the bar is pretty low. The demo itself was the best 3D Sonic game I've played in a Oh my god! Oh my god! He said the demo is the best 3D Sonic game he played in a decade. Now again, Generations is more than a decade old. So, he's talking about Lost World, Boom, Forces. But still, to get outclassed by a demo, a whole decade of mid that we had to sit through, we had to survive through, we had to live through it, to be outclassed by a 30-minute demo. Sonic Team, how do you feel about all the slack, all the BS you put us through throughout the 2010s? How do you feel when your demo is outclassing all that shit? Your demo out here outclassing all that shit. I mean, Rise of Lyric was a Sonic Team, fine. Sega, still. If you don't like Sonic Frontiers, what are you even looking for in a Sonic game? What is this? This is from June 6. Okay, I'm not reading that. Okay, so we've seen that. Close that. Yeah, this is all from the same article, yeah. Alright, we got this one to read, and then we got this one, which is based on a video that we watched, so I don't know if we have to even read this one. But there might be something in there that we didn't see. But let's read this one. My beanie is sticking up. Yeah, this beanie kind of tight. I mean, I got a big head. You know, it houses my normally large brain, where I spit so much facts and knowledge. Ugh. Sonic Frontiers feels like a weird spin on Elden Ring. With its somewhat gloomy overall, imagine Sonic Frontiers being like Elden Ring. Just an easier Elden Ring. And a lot smaller, obviously. It's hard to play the Sonic Frontiers demo and not be reminded of the sprawling RPG, but here you're going at 100 miles per hour. If you're a Sonic the Hedgehog fan, by the time you read this, it's highly likely you've already developed a possibly very strong opinion about Sonic Frontiers. Okay. There's only so much we can say about the 45 minutes we played at Summer Game Fest, but the bits we can talk about, and stay with me on this, sure felt like a Sonic spin on Elden Ring. Mike donated $5 and said, "Oh, never mind, you were right. He was just commenting on how he isn't delaying, even though we want them to." Yeah, pretty much. The demo opens with Sonic emerging from a portal of some kind. Okay, we know all of that. Sonic is instructed to seek out the Chaos Emerald, at which point he's free to roam, or at least free to experience a series of onboarded tutorials to teach the fundamentals of traversal and combat. During my session, I selected the fast controls option, which Sonic Frontiers says is designed for players familiar with Sonic games. I played my fair share of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, I reason, and so obviously that'll be the scheme for me. Filthy casuals! Filthy! Filthy! They said, if you're familiar with Sonic games, put it on the fast mode. I played 3 and Knuckles back in 1994 with my lock-on cartridge. I still have the cartridge in my wardrobe somewhere. Put it on the fast mode. Anyway. Playing at shows is never ideal. There's added stress to not look dumb while playing. The desks tend to be on hand, and you want to be asking interesting questions. So he's making excuses for himself, and it seems. You probably just played 5 strange indie games that bend your brain in fascinating ways immediately before sitting down. I didn't get to check it against the slow option, but the fast controls in Sonic Frontiers get very fast. Oh, look at this quote that they put here. Criticism of Frontiers over appearing to be an empty open world falls wide of the mark. So they're saying it's not true. This meant I typically need a couple attempts to get through an area. A mistimed spin charge would send me careening off a boulder and into the sea, or I'd simply miss a jump to an airborne rail and plummet to my doom. No matter though, Frontiers is pretty generous with checkpoints in its open world, so I never felt as though I'd lost so much progress. The tutorials come at a rapid clip initially, which is a bit frustrating. Sonic can move tremendously fast, and his clear Frontiers are made to let him do exactly that, but he's constantly interrupted by ponderous establishing shots to set up the next mechanic or input you're meant to learn. So a lot of people don't like the tutorial. It's too in your face. Mike donates $5 and said, "Alright, I gotta go. This was fun. Love your stuff and see you later. Have a wonderful day, Ron." Thank you for tuning in, man. Still, criticism of Frontiers over appearing to be an empty world falls wide off the mark. Wide of the mark? So he disagrees or agree? I don't know. The slice of overworld I tried at Summer Game Fest feels well calibrated to Sonic's movement. In fact, I found myself too frequently interested in some obstacle course or collectible I noticed off to the side to get much of a good sustained zip going for very long. The demo includes 2 minor boss fights, and it's here that I get a chance to click with Frontier's combat system. It's pretty simple. Locking onto an enemy will change Sonic's focus so he moves relative to that enemy. Okay. Just like in the Souls games. Tapping X will have him execute a quick attack. I'm guessing that's Xbox X and not PlayStation X, because I think he mentioned another button before. I don't know. And the trick tends to be to time them so as not to get swatted. Okay. Okay. Snap Sonic towards nearby bumpers. Okay. Attack on various floating items allowed to leapfrog between distant platforms. Yeah. Okay. He'll earn skill shards that eventually unlock new tools and abilities. So you can get that from exploring and defeating enemies, such as leaving a glowing trail with his footsteps. So you have to unlock the spin cycle, I'm guessing. Yeah. So, or they call it the cycle loop or some shit like that. That's how I'm able to beat the second boss. Okay, the bottom section of the tower is bashed out. The skill can can also be used to unite elements of an environmental puzzle, often yielding skill shards, rings, or even opening up new areas. And that was just the first skill on the tree. There's a complicated embargo to observe result. Okay, yeah, so it's all about the cyberspace. It's already a divisive game, I'm sure will continue to be in the lead up to release. I'll say this though, even playing under less than ideal conditions, such as having to use an alien PlayStation controller with Xbox on screen. But okay, that is annoying though, using a PlayStation controller, Xbox prompts. And with a bit of jankiness, the small taste of Sonic Frontiers played left me interested in seeing more, and the strange and gloomy overworld is just one reason for that. Alright. So, I think that's everything. I think we've gone through... We went through this. I mean, this article is based on a video we already watched. But we can still read that. Read that. Let's see if anything new has come out. Any other critics have dropped anything? Is this new or is this just a re-upload? Yeah, I think this is just a re-upload. Screenshots. Yeah, we saw some screenshots. There were some good screenshots. Yeah, I think we've gone through everything. That's just the old IGN shit. Ugh. Games Radar dude was negative with Frontiers. Games Radar. Which one was that? Did we already look at that? Let me see. Matt Benson donated $5 and said, what is it about Sonic that made you stick through it through all the mid? Sonic is like a cockroach. He never dies. He always does enough to keep you invested, but not enough to keep you truly happy. You know, like, he gives you forces to piss you off, and then he brings in Mania. It's like, okay, well, I'm still here, I guess. Or you got Generations mods, or fan projects that look interesting, or, you know, turning it into a job, which kind of makes you stuck with it. I don't know. Alright, let's go through this, but I don't think there's much new here because it's from an article we already saw. Sonic Frontiers is ambitious. The game's initial reveal may not have painted the fruits of that ambition in the most polished light. It was all a bit rough around the edges, but even still, I've been excited and curious about the potential this new concept has to redefine what a modern 3D Sonic game could look like. It plays much better than it looks, yeah. Hour, dashing, jumping, battling. Okay, the Green Hilly ecosystem. I'd say the overall is more like Sky Sanctuary than Green Hill, but if I was to compare it to a previous level. Let me see this Games Radar 1. Oh shit, that is a bad review. Ooh. We're gonna have to take a look at that. Look at the title on that. Oh, that's not good. Tucked away platforming challenges that can lead to hidden collectibles, to giant, intimidating bosses that freely roam the environment. Okay, so surprisingly large amount to see and do. Okay. This could be the smartest 3D Sonic title in a while, one that rewards player curiosity more than any other previous entry. So you got the action style, which gives it extra weight, and high speed style, which is faster. Yeah, so pretty much what we saw in their video. We ran out of music, wow. Let's slow it down a bit. Ugh. While I play the Frontiers were remarkably freeform. Okay. Your Frontiers progress seems to be primarily gated by portals, which can only be activated after you complete a certain number of activities around the map. So yeah, we saw that in the footage before. Like, you get to a certain area and it opens more space. Okay, what you do in which order is up to you. Alright. So, want to focus on locating the small environmental puzzles or participate in some timing-based challenges, you can do that too. I hope the time-based challenges are good, because if they're not, I'm gonna be mad. When I go challenge one of the many large bosses, the game won't stop you. There's even fishing. Okay. Nothing is stopping you from racing through the game as fast as possible. But, okay, yeah. Multiple other biomes. Pretty much what we saw from their video. You can parry attacks, perform ground stomps. Yeah, pretty much from their video. Alright, so let's check out the bad review. Let's check out the bad review because we haven't seen many of those. I mean, every game has got negative reviews, right? Let's type in a game that's a masterpiece, right? This has got a 97. Okay, not every game has got negative review. Never fuck what I said. Not every game has got negative reviews. Never mind. Okay, let's check another masterpiece. Only 87? Come on, that's bullshit. Okay, 6 mixed, no negative. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Not every game has negative scores. What is? Let me see Elden Ring. Someone's gotta hate Elden Ring because it's tough, right? Someone's gotta be like, I died, it sucks, right? Nope. Critics were all fair. Alright. Games Radar said, I played Sonic Frontiers and it makes a staggeringly awful first impression. It is hard to find anything to like in Sonic Frontiers. Sonic Frontiers is the most stupefying game. Is that a word? Making one unable to think or feel properly. I need to use that word. AC2. What, you want me to check AC2 on Meta-critic? AC2 got 91 on PS3. Only one mixed review. 69 nice positive reviews. That's pretty high. See, I'm going on a detour that I shouldn't be going on, but I just want to check what the consensus is on the games. Alright. So 2 has a 91 and a 90. Brotherhood has a 90 and an 89. So 2 and Brotherhood are pretty much the best in the franchise, which doesn't surprise me because I already knew that shit. But yeah, pretty solid, pretty solid. Anyway, he spent 30 minutes and he spent the entire session blinking and winching like a dog in the rain, physically recoiling in sheer bewilderment. It was not a good demo, but I don't necessarily know if Frontiers could produce a good demo. Mechanically, visually, narratively, it makes a staggeringly awful first impression. The fact that I've even mentioned narrative in this period should clue you in to what caliber song it is. Okay. Low resolution, low frames per second, and plagued by popping. So he's saying low frames per second. So again, it is possible that whatever build they were showing on the demo in the booth was running at a weaker performance, I don't know, and a lower resolution. But the footage that they gave to these people to actually show in their reviews or their demo impression videos is smooth footage. Obviously that's footage they provided, that Sega provided for them. So they probably gave them nicer footage than was actually at the booth. Maybe, here comes the hopium copium, maybe the playable, the more stable build was running at a worse performance than the less stable build that they would have used to film their own footage from. I don't know. Sonic emerges from some sort of cyberspace wormhole and crash lands into a field of low poly grass. Oh, low poly grass, don't do that. His only companion, a disembodied voice who we're going to call Siri. Okay, this... I don't mind him being negative, but there's some cringe in this. Why are you calling the voice Siri just because it's a female voice? Okay. Siri assumes Sonic that he's the key to everything on account of his ability to go fast, and she asks him to track down the familiar Chaos Emeralds and the less familiar Titans. Let's get this out of the way. Sonic Frontiers is not pretty. The mountain environment explorable in my demo is bland, sparse, and utterly devoid of charm. Doesn't look like a Sonic game. It looks like Sonic was chopped into a cancelled PUBG map. I don't know. If you're gonna say the game's not pretty, I find that hard to believe. I mean, obviously he was playing at a lower resolution, but I don't know if I like not pretty. I don't know. I'm not going for that. The color and flourish that I associate with the franchise is solely. So he wants it to be like fucking overly colorful, fucking Lost World type shit, or forces. You know, or colors. That should have come to me first. Like, I've always been annoyed when people hated on photorealistic Sonic games. Or some people said 06 looks like trash. Like, graphically, no, it doesn't. Just because it's photorealistic doesn't mean it's visually bad, right? You know, you're not allowed to like the humans in 06 because they look photorealistic for its time. You have to prefer the Unleashed ones because they're more stylized. I'm like, I'm gonna prefer what the fuck I want to prefer. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, like, why should I have to by force prefer one of the... I like both. I like the cartoony, like, heroes and colors aesthetic. But I also like the photorealistic approach. I don't think Sonic has to stick with one or else, you know? Sonic still looks like Sonic, so it's in an environment that's seemingly chasing photorealism but falling quite short, but he looks comical. I agree with that last part, though. If you're gonna make the world photorealistic, then Sonic should look more photorealistic as well. But they use the standard, you know, forces model and put it in a more realistic environment. Like, no attempt to add some kind of, I don't know, fur or some shit like that. You know, I don't know. I don't hate Spider-Verse. I said Spider-Verse is a great movie. What the fuck? The visual clash is only worsened by the grind rails, boosters, platforms, and other stunt props that clumsily pepper the world. Pepper? Using it in that sentence like that? Okay. Giving the game a fragmented and artificial look altogether, and let me tell you, it did not help that the demo build wouldn't let me disable or even reduce motion blur. Yeah, I mean, fuck motion blur, for real though. Though the tutorial assured me that the full game will. Okay. Didn't appear to improve the frame rate or worse, it was helping. And this game is an absolute slideshow without it, at least on PC, which is what the demos want. So how did they get that super smooth footage if the booth was running at... I'm guessing the smooth footage came from a later build that was less stable that they didn't want to put at the booth. That's just my assumption, because it's running at 60 FPS somewhere, clearly. I mean, it's not like they would have put shit GPUs in the booth, right? They would have used higher end shit to make their games look better, right? It definitely made the most of the screen look like it was covered in 3 sheets of half-melted plastic wrap. Wall too open for its own good. This has to be a classic, fanboy. When Frontiers was announced in 2021, I was excited, but also unsure if the mechanics attached to the character would be a good fit. I feel like if you're gonna give a review on Sonic, you need to state like your opinions first, so I know like if we're gonna align. Like, what's your top 3 favorite Sonic games in the main series? What's your bottom 3 in the main series? Do you know what I mean? And when you say that first and then give your review, I can go, okay, I'm probably gonna fuck with what you have to say. And if you say some shit that you like the shit that I don't like, or you hate the shit that I love, then I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna take your shit with a grain of salt. You know what I mean? Sonic has to go fast, it's the law, but if your character can go really fast, your average open world will probably feel really small. So what do you do? Well, you could scale the world up to suit the character's movement speed by putting all the interesting bits really far apart. Of course, this runs the risk of the world feeling empty and lifeless, especially if it's unpleasant to look at, and especially if there's absolutely nothing between those interesting bits. Sonic Frontiers briefly comes alive when I can chain flashy set pieces together, but the small platforming challenges found around its world just feel like normal 3D Sonic levels arbitrarily broken into 20 sections with miles of ugly nothingness separating them. This makes it impossible to get into any sort of flow state. The open world feels woefully lacking in things to do or even see, and that's what there is, often actively worsened by the open world structure. Combat mostly focuses on homing attacks and a basic follow-up combo, at least at first. Later on, I spend some skill points in an honest-to-God skill tree in a Sonic game on a cycloop move, which lets me ensnare stuff with circles of light. But I really only break out the cycloop for enemies and puzzles that clearly require it. There are more moves and upgrades to be had, but for now it's all homing attacks all the time. Now, for my money, Sonic's homing attacks are most interesting when it's woven into platforming, so a way to chain attacks to bridge gaps and keep your momentum. It's just dramatically less interesting when forgettable android blobs pop out the ground in the middle of nowhere. It seems like he doesn't enjoy the aesthetic of the game, and that's affected his whole experience, basically. But I don't know. Combat goes from boring to frustrating when I run into Ninja. Ooh, Ninja's in this game. I'm joking. A taller android blob in the first of 3 bosses. Ninja's attack hitboxes could hit both sides of a bond, so he quickly turns me into mush as I wrestle with the controller. Is this the Ninja boss they're talking about? People were calling her thick in the chat, misgendering the boss. It's a he, okay? He was staring at Dudos, which if that's what you wanted, then fine. I wouldn't judge, but it didn't sound like that's what you wanted. I mistakenly assumed that I need to time my parry with incoming attacks as you do in every sensible action game under the sun, but it turns out you just need to hold the shoulder buttons, both of them, until you get hit, and you automatically counter seemingly... What? Huh? So he thought he had to time his dodges like you would in standard combat, you know, like what you would do in, you know, Dark Souls games like that. They attack you, you dodge to one side. They attack you this way, you dodge to the other side, right? But then he's saying that what you really do is you hold the shoulder buttons, both, and then when you get hit, you automatically counter. That's some automation shit that I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of that. We had the same problem with Forces where the game, some of the levels are looking solid, like Sunset Heights looks solid, and then you play it for yourself and realize how much the game is hand-holding you, especially with the avatar as well. Like, there was so much hand-holding shit that looking at footage you wouldn't know it was holding your hand, and then you play it and like, I'm not doing anything here. Like, the drifts in the avatar levels in Forces were automatic, right? But you would think they're manual if you actually watched footage of it. So the idea that you're not actually dodging yourself, you're just holding the shoulder buttons and it just dodges for you, I think that's some automation bullshit. Armed with this knowledge, I was able to beat Ninja despite the best efforts of a lock-on camera, which routinely loses track of its targets, and a dodge roll which can't dodge anything. I couldn't help but notice the skill tree I mentioned earlier contains an unlock for automatic combos, and I'm beginning to see why you'd want the game to fight for you. So you could get automatic combos in the skill tree? Skill tree is supposed to give you more abilities, not automating the abilities you already have, right? That's a bit of a doozy. There's a dramatic panning shot after I beat the second boss, a big old black cylinder which reveals a landscape covered in loops and ramps and collectibles. Okay. How many loops did we see in the open world? I don't think we've seen any major loops in the open world, right? So, confirmation of loops in the open world. And for a moment it feels like it could work, perhaps in a universe much kinder than ours. But clunky controls, technical issues, and dull presentation swiftly bring me crashing back down to wherever the hell this is for possibly the worst boss fight yet. I say possibly because my allotted time ran out and my demo abruptly cut to black as I started scaling the thing. So it's got that fade to black on the demo, just like the Forces one. I didn't actually beat it, but what I saw wasn't very promising. I'd be lying if I said I was disappointed that I didn't get the chance. It's hard to find anything to like in Frontiers aside from the can't look away appeal, for lack of a better word, of a disaster. Frontiers characters and world mix like soy sauce and plain Cheerios. Well, I mean, people mix pineapple and pizza and think that's good, so maybe someone likes soy sauce and Cheerios. The overarching story feels worryingly comparable to the kind of drama that, in defiance of God and country, previously saw Sonic the Hedgehog. Okay, fuck off with the 06 bullshit. No one gives a fuck, okay? No one has time for that shit. Platforming is functional but constantly interrupted by weaker ideas, and combat is thus far a poor imitation of any bare-bones action game. I don't even remember any particularly good music. I only played an in-progress build ahead of the game's release later this year, but while there's still time for improvement, from what I saw, nothing short of a miracle is going to right this ship. I wouldn't consider myself a diehard Sonic. You see, why do you just lead with this shit? Just lead with this shit, okay? Like, make me read this whole thing. You don't even lead with this shit. Wasting my time, like, God. I don't give a fuck what the casuals think. I'm not casual. Just lead with the fucking shit that's important. How many Sonic games have you played? You probably haven't even played 06. You just saw the scene. I've played and enjoyed a lot of Sonic games, including the 3D bits of Sonic Generations, and I will take any of them over this. How are you gonna say you would take any of those games over this, but then not mention the games? How do you know which games that you're saying you'd put over Frontiers? Like, state the games. I would put so many of these games over Frontiers. Okay, but which games? Because if you say like Forces, then that's kind of worrying if you say you'd put Forces over Frontiers. But if you say like you'd put Heroes over Frontiers, that's a given because Heroes is the motherfucking GOAT and no game will surpass it. So it's like, okay, fine. But just saying I played a lot of Sonic games. In his mind, a lot could mean Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, Sonic CD, Sonic Mania, Sonic Generations, and Sonic 4 because of the curiosity. I don't know. Like, people need to state the games they actually like in the franchise before they review shit so we know where you're coming from. Anyway, I'm not gonna go too ham on it. He's allowed to have a negative review. Not every game is for everybody, alright? There's quite a few decently positive reviews. I don't think there's any perfect reviews, like no flaws or anything like that. But I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm too changed in opinion from before. Everyone knows what they value in games. Everyone knows what they want games to play like, what they want games to feel like. For me, movement is so important, and that's the one thing that is going to prevent this game from being a masterpiece for me, right? Movement is just so important, man. Level design, we have to see cyberspace before I can really know where I'm placing this game. And apparently we're not going to see that till 29th June, so who knows. But yeah, for me, like, I wouldn't say the information in the stream has made me more worried for Frontiers. I don't think it's made things worse. I think it's definitely made things better, even if only a little bit better. But a little bit better is better than not better at all, right? So that's a good thing in my books. But I wouldn't say I'm on the hype train yet. I need to know about these cyberspace levels. If they really are 28 cyberspace, because how much of the open world am I going to replay? Once the game is beat, realistically, you want to go back and play the cyberspace levels. I'm not going to do these puzzles again. I'm not going to do the combat again. Unless I'm doing a brand new save file off of like ages I'm not playing the game. Realistically, you're going to go back to the cyberspace levels. So if the leak suggests 28 cyberspace levels, which is not confirmed yet, IGN called them bite size. We don't know how long that means. But the quality and the length of the cyberspace levels, that's the shit you're going to go back to the most. So that's the shit we need to see to really determine like what the replayability of this game is going to be like. Bradley said still cautiously optimistic. Cautiously optimistic just sounds like a cop-out. It's always like it's like I don't want to say I'm optimistic because then I'll look like an idiot if the game is mid. But I don't want to say I'm pessimistic because, you know, Twitter will hate me. So by saying I'm cautiously optimistic, I can show that I'm worried while still sounding positive. It's like the ultimate phrase, right? Like, you know what I mean? I'm intrigued. I want to see more. But am I like choo-choo all aboard the hype train? No. But yeah, I don't think this game is gonna be some colossal failure or anything like that. I mean, let's go back to Forces. The highest port got a 62%. Most of the other ports were in the 50s. I don't know how the Xbox port managed to get a 7.1, but 6.5 users, 57. Right now, if I was to make a guess, and this is gonna get clipped, but if I was to make a guess based on these interpretations of the game, I feel like Frontiers is probably gonna land in the 70s on Meta-critic for critic scores. That's kind of where I see it going. Cause like, let's keep it real, right? What did we get in the 2010s? Forces is in the late 50s, early 60s. Rise of Lyric is the lowest Sonic game yet, so that's at 32. And then you had, what's the other one we had? Lost World. That got a 63, right? And then you had the one that everyone loves for some reason, Colors. That got a 78 on the Wii version, 79 on the DS. And then you had Generations, the best thing they released in that decade, and that hit a 77, right? So if it's inferior to like Generations, oh, we also had Mania, but that's 2D, but that did really well, especially the Plus version, 86, and then 91 on the Switch version of Plus. But the highest for 3D Sonic in the Meta era was 78, right? Or 79, I believe, for Colors DS. That's 2D. So 78. Well, Colors Wii is 2D as well. 77, 78, right? Could Frontier snag 70s? Yeah. I feel like, based on what I'm hearing from the critics, I feel it's probably done enough to surpass the 60s. I could see it getting 70s, right? I mean, if they gave fucking Colors Ultimate, which didn't deserve it, if they gave Colors Ultimate as high as a 74 and they didn't deserve it, even the Sonic fans weren't even in agreement. They got a 74 on this? Really? Switch port? What did the Switch port get? 67. Okay, that one got 67. Frontiers can do 70s. Could it do 80s? I don't know. According to Azuka in my latest video, in their focus test, they were getting people saying 80s and 90s. But in the general public or the general critics, I don't know. I don't know if it will get below 70. I think it can do at least 70s. Whether it hits that 75 to get the green score on Metacritic, which is considered good, 74 is considered like mixed. Whether it gets the green 75, I don't know. But I do see it getting at least 70s. 80s if it's lucky. I'll be thoroughly surprised if it got like a 90 on Metacritic. I don't see that happening. But you know, 70s I think is possible. As for me, I don't know. It's too early to give a full ranking. Too early. I mean, my opinions on the open world are pretty much, I don't want to say fully cemented, but damn near cemented right now. Until I see some more engaging puzzles or some more engaging level design. So far, the open world is, it's alright. We have to see cyberspace to really know. What's the level design like in cyberspace? How long are these bite-sized levels? All these things need to be taken into account, basically. What's chat saying though? What are they ranking? What are you guys ranking the game out of 10 so far? What are you ranking the game? Right now, I'm still feeling like that late 6s. if I'm being optimistic or positive, like early 7. I should probably have just done a poll, to be honest. Yeah, I'm just gonna do a poll. Where are you ranking the game so far? Out of 10. I wish I could have more options than that, but yeah. I want to separate 7 and 6 because I feel like there's a big difference between 7 and 6. That's why I'm doing it like this. So we got more people on the 8 to 10 than in the 6th region. Only a small amount of people said under 6. We're getting a lot of people saying 7. If I was to be generous, I could say like a 7.0, but I really feel like it's in that late 6 region. So far, right? We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, but could it get bumped to a 7? Maybe. Maybe. But I wouldn't put it in 5 territory. I think right now it's giving me 6 territory. But it could fluctuate. I said before that it's probably like anywhere from 5.0 to 6.9 for me. But that number could fluctuate depending on what we see. But yeah, I think we've seen everything. Unless some new footage has just dropped. If anyone in chat has seen some new footage, then you let me know. Did we see this? Game Informer? Did we see that? Alright. Let's take a look at this. I feel like we didn't see this. But there's dislikes on it, so it's possible it's not positive.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to New Gameplay today. My name is Alex Stadnick, and I am joined by... do you have a nickname, Marcus? I don't know. It doesn't matter. We have to go fast. Marcus, hello. What are we playing today?
Hey, we're looking at Sonic Frontiers. Your nickname for me can be Jet Lag, because that's probably what I sound like right now. We're back from Summer Games Fest.
That's not that many dislikes, though. Man, I've got videos where I was critical of Frontiers that had less dislikes than that. Proportionally, at least. That's a lot of dislikes.
And yeah, I got to play 30 minutes of this game. We were watching some footage that is not my footage. This is,
For the record, yep.
Yeah, just because I would have picked up those rings immediately. This is a B-roll that Sega prepared, but it has a few slices of what I played. But yeah, I wrote up a big preview on GameInformer.com if you want to go there and read my complete thoughts on the demo. But I will say here.
So he did a review. Has he linked it in the description, or are you going to make us do more work to find it? Okay, you're going to make us do more work. Why is it going to GameStop instead of Game Informer? Ugh, God. Always making things complicated. Just go. Not that I'm going to read all of this because I'm going to watch the video.
That after spending some time with this game, my impression and I guess mindset going into this game is cautiously optimistic.
Oh, here we go. The caution. Ugh.
Okay.
I will preface that I am a Sonic fan.
That's what I was about to point out. I was like, "Ooh, it's just cautiously optimistic from a big Sonic fan, huh?"
Well, here's the thing: I'm a Sonic fan, but I've also been very critical of his 3D games. I'm
so a classic fan.
Not. I want to like them more than I really do.
Right.
So this one I'm excited for, just because conceptually, like, okay, like a larger, not open world but open zone Sonic game. Maybe
So notice how I don't know if I paid attention to this before or said anything, but
like
notice how after he goes through the ring, he's still able to jump, which usually in Sonic games you're not able to do. Once you go through a rainbow ring, it's like you're kind of done until you land. So that extra level of acrobatics is appreciated.
Not open world, but open zone Sonic game. Maybe this will be the one, because there's been a lot of stinkers. And I'd say so far this game, there are like flashes of brilliance, or maybe brilliance is too strong a word, but like flashes of good stuff. I think moving around feels really good.
Yo, the Adventure Former, thank you for becoming a channel member. Thank you for the support, man.
Like in terms of just sheer running, there's like hitting that boost.
We still didn't find the perfect 3D formula though. Adventure 1 exists.
Button.
I mean, it's Sega's fault they didn't build upon it.
To, really take off feels exhilarating, and I think just the act of doing some of these smaller platforming, I guess like jungle gym areas are pretty fun. But I also noticed some of the same like legacy stuff that has always bothered me about the 3D Sonic games, namely sometimes the camera had a little bit of a hard time keeping up with Sonic, and
that's not good.
Yeah, not often. I will say that it was infrequent, but it still happened enough in a way where I was like, "Oh, hello, darkness, my old friend." And there are times where it'll make jarring cuts if you you find yourself in like a weird spot. Where you're like, I don't know how I got into this weird crevice. But by and large, it seems like still better than maybe some of his.
I've always thought the Forces Jump Ball was ugly. I don't know why they kept that. I don't like the Forces Jump Ball. I need a mod for that.
Worser outings. Excuse me. Like I said, I'm operating on a prayer right now.
This is Marcus and I are holding on for dear life at this point. This is another combat section we got from the footage. I'm curious. This is what makes me worried the most, I think, watching this footage, is like combat seems rather I don't know, like he's going fast around, he's throwing some jabs and stuff like that, but like how did it feel to actually fight? Because I guess I'm not sold on watching this quite yet.
Yeah, I will say, again, I'm not throwing shade or play. So what this person's doing now is the side loop ability, which is one of the unlockable skills you can get. That's the way you want to fight this boss. I did fight this boss during my demo, and it's pretty much the thing that teaches you to use your side loop. Basically, run around, you form a circle, and then anything caught in that circle, it gets their defense shattered, or in this case, it drops tears of this boss. I thought this boss was, I mean, I think the boss itself is generic, kind of like visually, but I think the fight was more fun than it looked.
I feel like, I don't know, the idea that when you die, the boss retains whatever health level you put him to, it really does defeat all the challenge, because you already have rings. It's not HP, so you can lose your rings and re-grab them to keep fighting the boss, right? So already staying alive is not that hard. So on top of that, then you die, and then you just continue where you were. I think that's a bit, there's no punishment there.
Looks just, but
another person saying the gameplay is more fun than it looks.
I think the fight was more fun than it looks, just because of the like there's a point in the fight where it shoots like mortars, and it feels kind of fun to just run around and dodge it.
Cool.
And like I think that ring that goes up and down is kind of a fun thing to avoid in terms of like making sure you're not, it punishes you for not getting reckless and getting your timing. But yeah, I would say none of the combat counters like blew me away in this game,
but they were
like, like fun enough, I guess, like adequate,
Yeah. And because I know a lot of people online have lamented it's so empty, like blah, and it's like, ladies and gentlemen, Pokemon Legends Arceus, one of the best games of the year, also had that problem. It was still a lot of fun. So it's like and the speed looks like it's there.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I would have definitely preferred to see like NPCs and things going on in the world. I don't know if there's gonna be some more industrial city kind of island that has NPCs in it. Maybe this is the only one that's empty. Cause like even with Odyssey, like the first like tutorial environment, the first kingdom, that place was pretty empty to be honest. I mean, Odyssey had a combination of like emptier worlds where there's nothing or less people in them, and then some where there's a lot of people. So it was like there was a healthy variety.
Speed is definitely there. Yeah. And I can't speak to the open world because the slice I played was much more linear than what you're seeing right now. We didn't really get a chance to go out into the broader open world. Like the space was still like wide enough, but it definitely wasn't this.
So remember how they said the open world opens up as you go through the portals, right? So you start off with less that you can explore, and then it opens up more of the world. It seems like Sega are giving them footage of more of the world, but then what they actually played in the demo was less of the world, which is going to affect the reviews. You know, they're showing us more of the footage, but then they play less, I'm guessing.
Right. So I can't speak to like the emptiness of like the moment to moment, what are there things to do. It was mostly just like, hey, there's little platforming areas here. Here's a loop-de-loop. You can go ride it to get some more rings or solve a puzzle or something.
For sure.
So that remains to be seen, but I understand the concern for it too. It's one of my...
Breath of the Wild had that too. The first plateau is empty with no one but enemies. But as you spread out, you find villages in the actual nations. Yeah, pretty much like that.
My concerns as well, but we'll have to wait for, possibly release to see how it is.
Right. Well, and where can people find the rest of your thoughts, Marcus?
So GameInformer.com, I have a preview, Sonic Frontiers preview hands-on with Sonic's Open Zone Adventure. More complete thoughts there. You can check that out. And yeah, this game comes out later this year.
Someone said stop pausing.
Still doesn't have a release date, but they're targeting fall, coming to PlayStation and Xbox consoles, as well as PC and Switch.
Awesome. Well, Marcus, thank you so much for joining me. Viewers, thank you so much for watching. We have so much more as it comes to new gameplay today, interviews, all that kind of stuff from Summer Games Fest. Be sure to keep it locked.
Wait, hold on. Wasn't there a... Okay, conspiracy time. Conspiracy time. Hold on. Oh, conspiracy! Conspiracy time! Conspiracy-ulus, Meta-critic. I saw a leak yesterday that suggested that the Nintendo Direct was going to drop on June 29th. Right? Right? Huh? Huh? Guess what else? It's happening on June 29th. The embargo for the cyberspace levels is being lifted. Now, some of you simple-brained people in the chat are thinking, well, that's good then. They're going to show the cyberspace levels in the Nintendo Direct. That's not what the fuck I'm talking about. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is this. The Switch version is either going to run like ass cheeks, or it's going to be a cloud version. And when they announce that, admittedly bad news, that's either going to run like ass cheeks, or it's the cloud version on Switch in the Nintendo Direct, then they've got cyberspace levels to whisk us away from that bad news. See where I'm going? So you go, oh no, the Switch is a cloud version, but no one's talking about that. Everyone's talking about cyberspace. I get what you're doing, Sega. I am proud of you. Oh, we'll see if that comes to fruition. But that's pretty interesting. They ain't smart enough for that. I don't know. Maybe we do see the cyberspace levels in the Switch version first. Maybe they gave the Direct the cyberspace level reveal, but it's also the cloud version, so it looks just as good as the main version for the trailer. And then in the bottom text somewhere, it's like it's a cloud version, and you have to like read for it. You know, like how Sonic Colors Ultimate was this Epic Game Store exclusive, which is fucking trash. but they didn't like announce it from the treetops. They kind of just like fine printed it at the end kind of thing. So you'd be watching the Nintendo Direct like, look at this cool cyberspace level that we haven't seen anywhere yet. This is brand new gameplay. And it's looking like 60 FPS smooth. And you're like, it looks so smooth, it looks so clean. And every other console will get the same trailer after the fact, but Nintendo get it first. And then like at the end when it's all done, you're like, that was so hype, man. Then you go on Sonic Twitter, and then people that screenshot the fine print were like, cloud gameplay. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. But the Switch can run Witcher 3? Listen, okay? Do you know how much of a technological marvel it was that The Witcher 3 came to Switch? Like, it wasn't... Listen. Let me show you this shit right now, okay? Look at the comparison shots. Where's the shot that I'm looking for? Look at this shit. Look at PC Ultra and look at Switch. The Switch version looks like a PS3 game. Okay? And this is a technological marvel. That means they actually put serious work into this port. Serious work just to get this to run at 30 FPS on Switch. Serious work. Now remember, this is the same Sega that was Sonic Colors Ultimate, which was a Wii game. 2 generations behind Switch. It ran at 30 FPS on Wii. They remastered the game, not remade, remastered the game, a Wii game. And on Switch, it still ran at 30 FPS. Every other console got 60, Switch was still 30. If they can't even remaster a Wii game to get 60 FPS, 2 generations of benefit, are they really going to go that ham on Frontiers to get it to run smoothly on Switch? Or are they just gonna cloud version it? Sega already have that deal with Microsoft Asia or whatever the fuck, their cloud computing shit. PSO2 on Switch is a cloud version. Let's look at the graphics of PSO2 Switch. Not cloud. Gameplay. This is Switch gameplay. This is not another Sega game. Cloud version only. So look at the graphics of this game. And then look at the graphics of Sonic Frontiers, right? Where's the graphics of Sonic Frontiers? Look at the graphics of Frontiers. Look at the graphics of PSO2. Are they that different? If this is a cloud version of Switch, are they really going to downport Frontiers? I would love to see it, right? But if they somehow get Frontiers running on Switch at playable frame rates, aka 30 FPS, because it's not getting 60, then it's gonna look like this or worse, right? Are they gonna put the shit at 240p? Like, what are they gonna do? Like, what are they gonna do? Anyway, it's gotta be cloud. It's gotta be cloud. We need a Switch deck. Wouldn't it just be a Switch 2? You were thinking they should just drop the Switch version entirely? Yeah, but I mean, why do that when you could put a cloud version on it, right? People are gonna buy the cloud version. Maybe not as much as a native port. You know, anyone who's got a Switch as well as a more powerful console will just get it on their more powerful console the moment they hear the Switch version is cloud. But anyone who's only got a Switch and really wants to play Frontiers, a lot of those people will take that risk and get the Switch cloud version, which quite frankly, let me see. PSO2 Switch internet speed requirements. So it doesn't work outside Japan? Well, I mean, I'm guessing for Frontiers it would have to work in other places, but so you only need 40 megabytes on the system. Let me see. Control, switch, cloud version, internet requirements. Alright, so from control on Switch, they're recommending at least 15 megabits for content to be playable. Alright, 15 megabits, okay. Average internet speed by country. Alright, so on fixed broadband, average is 63 megabits. On mobile, it's 30. United Arab Emirates is first? Okay. Are these numbers accurate? Anyway, they said you would require about 15 megabits. Only down here we starting to get down there after the first 100 countries. And that's on mobile. If you look at broadband, it still stays above 15 for quite some time until Cape Verde. Someone said, oh, you have to be online to play on cloud. That's pretty much it, yeah. Yeah, so more people are going to be able to play cloud than you think. So remember Sega announced the deal with Microsoft Asia, right? So they do cloud stuff. Built in partnership with Xbox Game Studios and cloud game developers worldwide. And remember, Xbox have got Game Pass, which has cloud on it. So them teaming up with that. Where's the video I talked about that? Yeah, here we go. 7 months ago. I mean, it was more of a speculation on the online multiplayer, but the cloud version, I did mention that. I'm trying to find the article link. Yeah, Sega's Japanese website talks about it. Next generation development environment. Cloud services, 5G, Azure Cloud Technologies. Yeah. I have good internet, so if I was to get Frontiers on Switch, I would be fine with the cloud version. Especially compared to, like, you know, a downport. But I'm not fussed because I've got a PC. But yeah, that's about it. You're gonna get frame rate drops, resolution drops, and lag from time to time, no matter how good your internet is. I don't know. If you play on Ethernet, I did a video on the Non-Sonic channel, link in the description. Oh yeah, this is the Clips channel. This is the Non-Sonic channel, link in the description. I did a video. Hey, we hit 7.7K. That's what's up. Hey, that's what's up. Thank you for the support, man. We just hit 7.7K. This is my Non-Sonic channel, which I've plugged a few times. If you go on that channel, I did a video on Stadia, and it was actually really good. Even though the title makes it seem like it was bad. It was bad because the interface was shit. When I connected Stadia with Ethernet, I had no problems. And, I mean, I have good internet, admittedly. But again, I've done game streaming on Wi-Fi and on Ethernet. And the difference is like night and day. So, on Ethernet, Frontiers Cloud Switch could be pretty good. But if you want to do that handheld on the go shit, you might have a bit of a problem, is what I'm saying. I don't know. It depends, again, on the quality of your router. You know, if your router is downstairs in some corner and you're upstairs, you know, taking a shit playing Frontiers, if you see some lag, you see some lag, right? Nonetheless, the moral of the story is, we'll see what happens. Crowd is bad because it defeats the point of the Switch. It does defeat the point of the Switch, but there are plenty of people who, in fact, I might as well just do a poll while I'm live. I'm actually just gonna ask this question right now. I'm just gonna ask this question right now. Switch users. Which do you use more? Docked only, handheld only, mainly docked, and then mainly handheld. Let's find out what the Switch users are saying. Do you only play in handheld? Do you only play in docked? Do you mainly play in docked but still sometimes handheld? Or do you mainly play in handheld or sometimes docked? Let's see what... I would have put like a 50-50 option, but there's only 4 options, so I can't really, you know. Alright, so 39% said mainly docked, added to the 14% that said docked only. That's over 50% of people who play in docked. So to connect Ethernet, which you probably already have if you want to play online, because it's Nintendo Online, let's be real, your Frontiers Cloud experience could be pretty solid. But for those of you who are handheld only, that 14%, you better hope you got a good router, you know. Mainly handheld, you're gonna have to play Frontiers docked if the Switch is the only thing you own. But put it this way, right? They know Sonic sells on Nintendo hardware. If they knew at some point that the game wasn't gonna run natively on Switch, making a cloud version, how hard is that? They teamed up with people that know how to do that. All they have to do is just provide it to the Asia Cloud platform or whatever, and then whoever buys it for $60 or $70 buys it and they get paid. The only cost they have to pay is running the server, which as long as there's people paying for it, they can run that server, right? It's easier for them than porting the game, especially trying to get it to run on Switch. You have BT, which should be pretty good. You gotta do a speed test, but if you got like 20 plus megabits, you probably will be solid. You know. But yeah, I think that wraps it up for this stream. I think we've discussed everything. Thank you, Brandon Williams, for the support. I'm gonna plug my latest video right here. Non-Sonic channel. I'm going to plug in the chat. Capcom have got an event in less than 3 hours. I'm going to be streaming that event on Premulus. And before the event starts, I'm going to play some, I believe it's Virtua Fighter 5, which Sega sent to me. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. So I'll be going live on Premulus somewhat soon. So keep an eye out on Premulus. And yeah. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell. Premise finally giving up on the twin brother thing. No, it's still my twin brother. No, listen, it's still my twin brother. We just mix ourselves up sometimes because we look so similar, you know. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell. More content coming soon. And thanks you guys for watching. It's been real. Remy out.